I tēnei pō ka tukunatu ngā whakamui miti ki tō tātou kaihanga, no reira ino i tātou. Mai i te whitinga o te rā, tai atu ki te hekenga hoki, koe nei mātou e te atua, tai atu ki tēnei haura, e tuku whakamui miti ki a koe. Mana ki tia tēnei huinga, ki tēnā, ka tū he tono hiakera, mo tēnā tūru, mo tēnā tūru, mo tēnā tūru. No reira e te atua manaki tia, aro haina mātu katoa, I runga te ingoa tau tami hukraiti tō mātu kai whakora. Amen. 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 No reira tēnā koutou katoa. Tēnei te mihi atu ki a koutou ko te tūmai, ki te āta whakarongo, ki tēnā o ngā kai pono, ko te tūmai I tēnei pō. No reira tēnei te mihi, a tēnei rā te mihi. A ki a koe e te tumuaki a tēnā koe. No reira, e rauranga tira mā, me pēwhea rā te kōrero, me pēnei pēr. A ko te wehi ki ai hoa te tīmatanga o te mātauranga, kia tau mai ngā manakitanga, o te runga rawa ki runga, tō tātou kīngi. A ki runga I te whāne e paniti ana I tēnei haura, mohi ai tātou, te rā mate huhua o te wā, a huri noa o te ao, a kuini riripiti. A huri noa, kia tātou e tau nei, koe rā noi hoki te tū ki te mihi atu ki a koutou, a kia tātou I rungi tēnei huihuinga, tēnā koutou, a tēnā koutou, a kia ora tātou kato.
A tēnā tātou, ka tika ka tuku te mihi atu ki a koe te pāpā, nau I tuka tēnā o tātou ne hui, tēnei pō. O tira tātou katoa ko taimau ringa te karanga, ka tika me mihi ki tō tātou nei kingi, a kingi tūheitia, pō te tau te wherewhero, te tua whetū, me te kāhui ariki nui tonu, pai mārire ki a rātou. Ka tika me mihi atu ki a koe te tumuaki, hei whakatau I runga I a tātou I tēnei pō. O tira tātou katoa ko taimai I runga I tēnei kaupapa arā, ko te Meet Our Māori Champions, hui, mo tēnei pō, no reira tēnā tātou. Good evening, everyone. Look, firstly, just thank you so much for all of you for coming out this evening. I just really want to congratulate all of our candidates this evening. Please, if we can just give them a round of applause. Obviously, now we're kind of nearing the stage when the voting opens, and I'm sure most of you now have had the opportunity to go out to each of your communities, each of your hapori. You've also had the opportunity to speak at a number of different candidate events. So tonight, we're really looking forward to hearing some of these well-polished pitches this evening. But also it's an opportunity whereby that those of our whānau who reside in your hapori have the chance to listen to what do you hope to bring to council, to local government? How do you intend on representing the issues and the key things that our hapori want to see in local council? And then, of course, how do you intend on making and finding solutions to support the betterment of our whānau so that they can thrive and be the best of who they are in their communities? So again, I just want to acknowledge our candidates this evening. I also want to take the chance to acknowledge you, Tipper. Thank you for coming to literally all of our events, and really looking forward to hearing some of your kōrero later on this evening. Just before we get started, look, this evening is brought to you live by Kirikiriroa New Zealand. So Kirikiriroa New Zealand is a social enterprise, one that focuses on driving cultural sustainability in our communities. And more so, we've been heavily involved in civics education or trying to support more Māori candidates to be represented in local council, but also too, how do we mobilise our communities to actually get out and vote? And so again, I want to congratulate you for the courage, to actually stand in local council. I know some of you here have either already in council in a number of different roles, but just really want to acknowledge the mahi, one, that you've done, but also some of the mahi that you look to partake in moving forward. So, alai ngā whakaritinga mō te pōnei. So later on this evening, we're going to, actually following this, we're going to have the opportunity of listening to tipa. Actually, just before that, I better go over some house rules. So unfortunately, for those of you who are smokers, I've been told that actually this whole campus is a smoke-free campus. So if you want to go and have a kaupaipa, or even if you want to go and vape, I've been told to direct everyone down the hill, and you're more than welcome to kind of stand out in the rain. No discrimination. Again, for the wharepaku, so if you just go out the door that you came through, either there's wharepaku on your left-hand side, or there's some on the right-hand side just by the library. Actually, the other point that I want to raise, so of course tonight, and I again want to mihi to everyone who aren't candidates but are here in the capacity of wanting to support Māori candidates to stand in local council, or two, you might be here in the capacity of wanting to actually know more about what is local council and how do I get involved, what is local government, how do I support candidates. But you may have a number of pressing questions throughout the evening, and so I encourage you. So on my left there, just on the wall, we have kind of like a little parking station. So there are post-it notes and pens that are available to you. There's actually little lollies there too, so you get a little prize if you actually do write some partai down. But I encourage you to, as the evening goes, please just go up and grab a paper and just write down some of the partai, because we're going to give you an opportunity to ask some of those questions. However, we are going to take a bit of a coordinated approach this evening, because what we've known is when and if we do open the floor, sometimes the questions do go on for a little while. So this is our little mechanism of just trying to control the room a little bit more. Ka pai? Awesome. Okay, so yes, and then actually, so tonight's going to be a bit of an interactive evening. So I know that some of our candidates have been out and done a number of different events. We have some paddles that we're going to bring out later on. We've got some quick fire questions, which is really just going to be a yes or no question exercise. And then also you're going to have the opportunity to speak a little bit about your campaign. Why should people vote for you? And then what are the issues that you hope to take and bring, and what are the solutions that you hope to bring in local government? So each candidate will have an opportunity of 2 minutes this evening to talk through that. And then there are a number of different exercises that we'll go through this evening. Ka pai? Awesome. Hey, look, I know everyone's a little bit spread out this evening, but by all means, feel free to come up and get a little bit more intimate with our candidates, or yourselves. Intimate as in not in, like, you know, not that intimate, but you know what I mean. Ka pai. Look, so without no further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest night speaker for this evening, so Tipa Mahuta. Tipa Mahuta is of Ngāti Mahuta, Ngāti Manu descent. She is the Ngāhaue Whā Waikato Regional Councillor, actually, and holds a number of different accolades and sits on a number of different directorships and co. And again, just want to mihi to you, Tipa, for again being elected unopposed this year. So without no further ado, and by all means, please put your hands together for Tipa Mahuta.
Kia ora tātai, tuatahi ngā mihi o te aia koe Sam, kia tātai, te piringa whare te pōnei, hoi anō kia taunga manakitanga ki tō tātou kengi, e tahi haere ana i te mato te whenua ki te poroporaki e a koine i ri hāpiti, nō reira kia tātai katoa, kia tai te mauri, kia tātai. I've talked 3 times, so I don't know if I've got anything more to say, but I just thought we might do it in a different way this evening, because I know that all of you that are here are committed to your candidate in the room. So this isn't for the candidates, this is for the supporters. A couple of questions. Okay. So how many of you have, and tū te ringa, have voted in a previous local government election? Ka pai. How many of you, is this your first time voting in a local government election? Awesome, we brought new voters to the room. Ka pai. How many of you, because you've got a candidate or someone you're supporting in this election, you've never known so much about local government? Cool. And of those who've learned something new about local government, yeah, what is the most interesting thing you've learned? New or interesting thing again? Kia ora, or kia ora ka whai, Gary?
How different they are, how different the personalities are.
Cool. So all of us in the room, candidates can play now too. How many people thought that council was just one thing? Ka pai. How many people know what types of councils we have in New Zealand? See, big learning there. So, how many people know what the regional council do? Yeah, see, still a small club, eh? And I've been your candidate for 9 years and I haven't increased the room. So I'm just showing you that although these institutions are old in our community, they're new in ours. Yeah, or our exposure to them has not been for very long. So we don't even see often how council can help our part of the community do what we want to do. Yeah. So again, having all these voices in council will help us. Ka pai. How many people know if their council is doing anything for te wiki o te reo Māori? So very few. And that's just something that's happening all over New Zealand right now. Yeah. So that goes to show, because we're all very connected to our council, that Waikato councils have a bit of work to do, right? Because these things should just be normal, natural, don't have to ask about it. Yeah. Just like all the other promotional weeks that we might have going throughout the toe. So thank you for playing. It was just to make sure we're all in the room and had a pulse. Ka pai. Otherwise, it's feeling much like a council meeting. So a couple of things I just wanted to comment on. We are 4 weeks to go, whānau, 4 weeks to the 8th of October, and it's real. And by now you've been asked questions that you may or may not have the answer to. And that's all good, because I bet you most of the elected members right now may or may not have the answer to those questions too. But what we do have is unique access. So you're going to get asked a question you don't know the answer to, and you're going to go to someone at your council and say, hey, how do I get these people an answer to their question? Ka pai? So, but I want you to know that whether or not you're the successful candidate or not, you can still be the person that asked that question. Ka pai? Because these brave souls have put themselves forward to ask those questions of our councils. Now, what's the likely impact? This is what I'm here to talk about tonight, of all this Māori fabulousness in the council room. Yeah? The likely impact is they will try and, by us being all so different and wide and diverse in our views, make us discount each other. They will want a Māori way for all things. They won't want the Ngāti way. Yeah? And I can only bring the Ngāti Mahuta from Huntly way. Yeah? So I must be very careful that when I'm not a Ngāti Mahuta in Huntly, that I'm speaking to whoever the Ngāti are. Ka pai? And my council rather try and say, but you answer, you are the Māori. And I say, no, I'll find you the Māori whose responsibility it is to answer that question. Okay, so because everyone wants you to make it easy for council. Yeah? So again, last time was do you, so do you, but don't make it easy for them. There's a lot of learning that needs to happen in this run. There's 4 weeks to go. So you've already thought about what things you want to see changed. You've already heard what the community wants changed. Yeah, if you've had really good feedback. Sorry. And then if you're a supporter of these candidates, you've already seen them change. Yeah, you've heard them speak and politically about things that are important to them, but now to other people. You've heard the impacts that they want to have on our community. So you're a new supporter of them finding out who they are as candidates. And how does that feel to all the supporters in the room? Ka pai? Yeah. So what more support could you give? And this is what we do in our little family. And all of us have been elected or not elected to something recently. So what we remind each other is the vote is a measure of your constituents on that day in that election. It's not a summary of who you are and your mana tangata. Yeah? You win the vote, you don't have any more, I guess, gravity than the day before, but you have more responsibility. Yeah? You lose the vote, you lose no mana because you stood and you brought a whole lot of new voters to the room. But you weren't the choice in that particular dynamic. Yeah? But what we need to know is you are the choice on another day in another room. Ka pai? Because you were brave enough to make this stand. So again, I don't have to go over the sad story of how I stood the first time and failed. We all know that happened. But to stand again is probably the true test. So to those of you who have stood before and failed, ngā mihi nui kia koutou, because you know what this hikoi is about. But to supporters of people who are in this process, they will be very stressed leading up to the 8th of October. Yeah, no matter what they say, I don't believe them. It's like the biggest exam in your life and you don't even get to sit in a room and wait for the result. Yeah. If they haven't already done it, they will be rung by somebody on the 8th of October. Be with them, whatever the result is. Yeah. And if you're a supporter of someone who's unsuccessful, do the ring arounds and thank yous for them. That's how you can support them going into election. Now, when you are successful, because that's the picture I want to paint, we need to, before the end of this year, come together in another room as successful candidates and create a future for all our Māori people. Because doing it alone ain't going to happen. Your lonely bodies on your lonely councils won't make it happen, okay? Only because I'm not saying that I'm a superhero, but there've been two of us, and man, we go forwards to go back at some point. So we need to come. Then we need to decide of all the things we've heard, what are the things we can do together in our council roles to push things forward, whether you're on a community board, a territorial authority, or on regional council alongside me. Ka pai? We also need to decide how we lean into all of the iwi and Arohe that have an interest in what council are doing, and they may have their own mana whenua representation at our councils. And we need to recognise the mana whenua while they recognise our ability to vote in council, and we've got to come together so that we are double down on the Māori voice. What they want to say to us on any given day in council is, that's not what the mana whenua said to me. And I'm going, well, that's what the treaty says, darling. But they want us to discount each other. So let's find ways to lift up their voice and say, no, that is the view of the mana whenua, that protects their unique view, but the baseline is the treaty. This is the expectation. We have a lot of new people we have to relate to, because a lot of the old ones left. So we got to, I guess, condition in our new colleagues, our new our new council allies, our new council allies. They could be any colour, but those that aren't from our communities. But there will be a number of new mayors. So soon after our first strategic meeting, we need to bring those new mayors and chairs together, this group of elected Māori, to say to them, this is how we want to work with you in your Waikato plan, in your regional strategies, in your community voice seeking things. Because as you've all seen, even though we're in election mode, the work of council is still going on. We're still consulting on ahara and ahara. So to everyone in the room, if you're a candidate supporter, my estimate is every Māori brings 20, yeah? Those you're related to and those who you intimately affect at your club rooms and your sports things, centres and your indoor netball, whatever you do. So if that's the theory, there's 800 votes in this room tonight. But have you checked in on them? Do you know your own kids are registered to vote? Do you know your responsible nieces that do and nephews that do vote? Are they registered to vote? Or the ones that have come into Hamilton to go to uni, are they registered to vote? And you've got like 4 weeks to do that ring around. I'm trying to make it trendy that the whānau that votes the most, But again, I'd sell lotto tickets to my whānau before I get them all voting. So these are some of but this is what we all need to do. I think stage 2, Kawe, with especially through Tainui Live and other methods, is how do we organise the turnout vote? And again, I'm not campaigning for anyone in particular. I'm campaigning for Māori power to be exercised through the vote. I want these councils to take our vote seriously. So my council, Kataraina, and I have 30,000 each in our constituency, 60,000 Māori in the Waikato region. We generally bring in 3,000 votes if we did go out to vote. So that's, you can do your math percentages. I'm not a mathematician. That's how many show up to vote. Yeah. That's across the whole region. All right. So if you're fighting for 6,000 people that already vote, but that's that's across the whole region. That's not in Hamilton. That number will go down again. That's not in Waikato district. That number will go down again. So give yourself credit where credit's due. You bring out 500 people to a vote out of 3,000. That's heaps, eh? Yeah. So the more people we bring out to vote, next time we win it. You get what I mean? But first time, you've just got to bring people out. So what the iwi could do for a turnout strategy is make it trending to vote, just like we did with other campaigns. Yeah, we could make it a marae pride issue. You know, holding Ngāti Mahuta voting, win what? I don't know. I'm not sure, but turnout votes, when they do it in Auckland, they'll go to a big Pacifica church and make sure that everyone's registered to vote. Yeah. And then the next time they go back, it'll be with the postal ballot boxes for people to put it in. Yeah. But I've got cousins that live 2 houses down from me that don't put the envelope in the post. And they see me every day and ask me about council things. So we can't take them for granted. They want to vote for me, but they're too lazy to send the orange letter. Yeah. And I know you all got cousins like me. I'm not unique like that. Yeah. But then you've got the ones, cuz, what can I do for you? They don't have any money, but they can make sure that their tuhandi, their little ngāti, are all registered to vote. So again, I know I was a bit shy to ask anyone, but now when anyone asks what you can do, hey, are you ngātis registered to vote and are you voting? That's all I ask for now. I don't even ask for their vote for me, because we all know how hard work that is. Yeah. But there's a group of active 25-year-olds that need to be actioning our voting. They are the majority of our tribe. They're between 25 and 30, and if they're not voting yet, hey, their voice will never land in this process. So we need them this election. We're gunning for them. Okay, so we can, because by the next time around, they'll be our mayoral and other candidates. So that's all I really wanted to take advantage of telling you tonight. Look after yourselves and your candidate. They're going to be all right. Whatever happens, by October the 9th, we go again. Hey. For the next hurdle, the next taumata. And also, coming back to what I said last time, because we're so abundant, whether you get in or not, we still need you in the whānau. Because there are subcommittees for JAM, policies and procedures and engagement strategies for miles that we need great people engaged in. So nothing lost on October the 8th whānau. I'm just so proud of all of you and everyone supporting you, because I know there's at least 800 Māori voting as a consequence of this hui. If we get more than that, well, good on us. And I'd really like to work with Waikato Tainui to make sure we do a great turnout campaign. We've got 4 weeks to make sure that everybody shows up. But if you're at a loss on October the 8th, there'll be big boxes at the Waihi Paukai. You can come and vote there. Or at least deposit your vote there, because we just got to make sure people know what to do. And this is more confusing than national elections, eh? People won't know unless they actively follow it up that they're going to get their vote in the mail. Yeah. So we just got to help them with a little narrative around that. Other than that, I was duly inspired by all of these fabulous people last time. Look forward to hearing from the ones I didn't hear from last time. But like all things, and Tumaki, thank you for being here. You give us great hope that the future is something we're building, not accidenting into, that there's not a challenge that your people are not prepared to meet with all of their aspiration to do so. So, Katia mo tēnei wā. Yeah, I feel like I said to Kelly, like, third time, do they really want to hear from me again? I'm running out of stuff to talk about. But if I apply what I think the way forward is to my I've done 9 years, the third termer, yeah? So I expect to go into the regional council and guide policy as it is applied to our people, because I've earned that now, yeah? I expect that if I don't chair, the chair will need me and Kataraina to deliver greater partnership with our whānau hapu and iwi, yeah? But that's 4 terms in. So don't want to blow anybody's bubble, but I thought I was pretty good 3 terms ago, you know? But first 3 years was just learning all the language. Yeah, the last 6 have been doing the jam. What else that I know that's coming forward? We have an opportunity, and I'm doing this while Koe and Kirsty are here because they've asked me 3 times, so the 4th time is to host Te Maruata in November or December of this year, which is the collective of Māori members. We will have the election of who goes on that committee, and I'm hoping we host it in the Waikato. So me and Kataroina are trying to do that here. So again, you'll be invited anyway to meet all the elected members nationally. Through Te Maruata, we've been able to have input into national policy as it results to local government. So again, that's just a champion up thing. And then what's the other one? Oh yeah, all the 3 waters stuff we get to land. I'll have friends now. So that might be our biggest taniwha, but again, if we have, I'm thinking at least quarterly hui, where we can catch up and bring everybody into a safe place, because no one's got the answers to that stuff, whānau, not even me, but I know mate kōrero katoa e tātou. So again, looking to create more abundance for Te Maruata ki Waikato, which is just us and it's aroha mai, and our rohe, and getting really great feedback from around the motu. So I've been putting all your fellas that you send to me stuff up. And if you haven't got stuff up yet, hurry up. You got 4 weeks. But it's shareables, eh? Those little snippets about what you believe that might come out of tonight's program that we can just share far and wide on our social media. That's what we need now for the last 4 weeks, whānau. I think also it would be great to have little panels of you guys and radio shows at Tainui Live, so people hear what you think more and more. As voting day comes close. But atui tērā, I know I want to leave all the words for you fellas, so kia poto te kakao o taku paipa, e no kawe, I won't speak again to your kaupapa, nei. But the only other thing I think from me and Kataroina is when you're successful, you get to the other side, just know that we're here, those of us who have done a round or 2. We're here to support you. And there's no Māori question that we shouldn't be able to ask each other. E te matunga o te rā, okay? E mā te wā kōrero, mā te kitinga a kanohi, all of those things. So we want to really be enablers of the next set of councillors so that we can retire, because, you know, that day comes too. So atui tērā te whānau, I just wanted to, again, express my support for all of you and that condition to your whānau. And I just look forward to, again, if we turn out more than 6,000 votes in the Waikato region, we all did something this time around. So ngā mihi nui kia tātou, huri noi te whare, tēnā tātou katoa. Kia ora.
Awesome, tēnā koe tapa. And no, we don't get sick of having you here. And often, we often actually quote a lot of her gems. And actually one that we make reference to often is get a kazi to tell a kazi, which is actually part of a campaign slogan that she wrote on in your initial campaign when you first ran for local government, for regional council. But we've kind of taken it a little bit further actually. So now we say, get a auntie to tell everyone. Because our experiences, and I'm sure most of this would resonate with those of us who are here this evening, is that yeah, often each of us have those aunties that just pretty much know everything, and that often at the marae, often at different kaupapa throughout the motu, and they're all too happy with having a good old chinwag with everyone about particular kaupapa. So by all means, I encourage you candidates, seek after those aunties and get them to tell as many people as possible. Yeah, probably would too. So again, thank you, Tipa, really appreciate that. And look, really exciting on the fact just to hear that the potential of actually hosting Te Maruata here. And maybe just to speak to a little bit about Te Maruata, it's an awesome, supportive collective of Māori, and actually myself and Kirsty had the opportunity earlier on this year to go along to the Local Government New Zealand conference, and we actually really got the chance to meet, there were a lot of Māori throughout local council, and so what's really exciting is that you guys are going to be joining them later on. Look, I'm not going to spend too much on this slide, but this is all, actually, can I just get an indication from the room to know whether or not or where you are voting? So who here are part of Hamilton City Council? You reside in Hamilton City Council. What about either Waikato District Council, Waitomo? Yeah. And then Regional Council? Should be everyone. Kapai. So I'm not gonna, and then of course, and there are a number of different community boards. I'm not gonna focus too much on this slide, but I think one thing to really point out for those of our voters who are here this evening, there is a key difference with how voting is done. So for example, here in Hamilton City Council, they operate under an STV system. So how that works is it's kind of prioritized by a ranking number. So for example, if I wanted to vote for Moko, I would vote Moko as, say he's your preference, you would vote for him as number 1 and then me number 2, for example. Whereas if you reside, say, in Waikato District Council, they operate under what is largely known as an FFP system, and that really is just kind of based on pure numbers. So you don't have a kind of like a number system, it's just a simple vote. Kapai. So I encourage you to go and check out each of your council's websites, and there are some key information on there as to how one should vote. Actually, before I carry on, I do see some of the other candidates out in the audience. So I'm going to ask Fire Galen Roberts if you can just make your way to the front, please. And also Tracy. Now, who else? So we can give these ones a clap. They must have turned up late. Hoi anō, they've arrived. Look, so now we have the opportunity to actually listen to some of our candidates this evening. So this is really now is where the rubber meets the road. We are going to do things a little bit differently. So we might be actually more accustomed to a bell, but actually we've got this little light. So each candidate is going to have 2 minutes, emphasize 2 minutes. Each candidate will have 2 minutes. One to talk about, so who are you? Where are you standing? And then what are the issues that matter to your communities? Okay. So you're going to be given 2 minutes. Rena is going to be our timekeeper. Rhea, if you can just raise your hand. And so if you see the light come on, that means you're like 30 seconds out from, and then once you see the shine, that means, okay, close it up, sis. And then if it's that you're gone way over your time, someone's going to come and drag the mic off you. Kapai? All right, cool. So we're going to get started. And so we're going to kick off firstly with our first candidate, which is, please put your hands together for Anaru Adams. And Anaru is standing for the Waikato Regional Council for the Waiho constituency. So Anaru, if you just want to come up and grab the mic. How do I check? Oh, there we go. Oh, you can if you want.
I'll be a cool guy and I'll hand the mic around once I'm finished.
Thank you, Anaru.
Tēnā rā tātou katoa, ko Anaru Adams tēnei, ko taku kraua heuri no Ngāti Haua Waikato Tainu, ko taku kuia tia tiawa mani poto tanaki whānui, ko taku pāpā no kotirana ne. Kei te tūai mo te takiwā whānui o Waiho. So, kia ora, I'm Anaru and I'm running for the Waiho General Constituency. So I can see a few people who might be in my voting pool, but also recognising that some Māori are on the general roll as well. The issues that affect my community. I'm running for regional council, so some whānau may or may not know what that kaupapa means. We've talked and heard a few times in some kōrero W's, as in around wai and whenua. So as now taiao is important to regional council and part of their mahi, public transport, so getting our whānau to and from their homes and their communities to where they want to be. And that environment piece is a huge kaupapa that's relevant to the Waiho area. A lot of our community are farming. A lot of our community are wanting to see diversity and balance in the voice. Because often we have Pākehā who are sitting in those general seats. So my whānau and my community want to see difference. They want to see balance. That it's no longer just around farming, it's around the waiora, the oranga of our communities. So that's why I'm standing. I probably won't go too much further on. That's why I'm here, and that's why I'm standing. So, kia ora tātou.
Awesome. Tēnā koe ana, kia ora. Ka pai. So next up we have Shanae, and Shanae is standing in the Waikato District Council for the Tauranga Takiwa Māori Ward.
Kia ora te whānau, ko Shanae Takuingoa, ko Taupiri te maunga, Waikato te awa, Tainui te waka, ko Taupiri ahau. My name is Shanae, I'm 27 years old, I come from Taupiri, I am married, I'm a mama to an 8-year-old son. This is not my first election. I was 19 when I was first elected in a local body election. And I've just done 2 terms, so 6 years on a Taupiri Community Board. And it brings me to the kaupapa of why I'm standing. I'm standing because as of today, when I was 19, I was the youngest Māori and Pākehā to stand and get voted in a local body election. To this day, I still am the youngest. And I want to get more rangatahi coming forward. I want their voices to be heard in council. It's about time. If we don't get our young people coming forward, we're going to keep running at by-elections. By-elections mean that more putia are spent in the wrong places. That money should be spent on our whānau. So, yeah, after doing, 6 years on my community board, it's brought me to wanting to do more. I've got to that place where I feel like I can offer more. And I just, not only just for our rangatahi, but for all Māori, for all people who have lost hope in our current council system, that want to see change, they want to see a difference, that are sick of seeing the same things, broken promises, and all that. I stand for each and every one of you. I want to leave a partai on the floor. What does your next 10 years look like? What do you want for your mokopuna, for your future generations? Do you want them to know about what a council does? Do you want them, do you want to leave this earth knowing that your mokopuna are going to be looked after? And that is why I'm standing, because if no one will, then I will. And that is why, I'm going to give it all my all. And even if I'm not successful this year, I will be doing another 3 years on the Taupiri Community Board, as I've been unopposed there. And if I have to do another 3 years to show our whānau that I can do the mahi, then I will. Ki te mahi, ki te mahi. So, everyone knows the issues that are happening in our communities today, especially Waikato District Council. We have housing is a crisis at the moment. It's not, I wouldn't say that it's more a crisis for the whole national sector. I wouldn't say it's a council issue. I would say it's more a government issue. We've got whānau living in their cars. We've got whānau living by rivers and banks. And as I stand here right now, we've got whānau that are going without food. Your public transport is a big one too, yes. So is climate change. Those are all big issues. And those are issues that are very dear to my heart, and is the reason why I'm standing today. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to come today. I haven't prepared no speeches, it's all coming from my heart. And that's how I like to do it. I like to give a, put it all straight directly from my heart, not pre-written or determinated. So kia ora, thank you.
Awesome. Tēnā koe, kia ora Shanae. And next up we have Kirikiriroa Hawkins. Again, Kirikiriroa 2 is standing in the Waikato District Council for the Tauranga Takiwa Māori Ward. Kei a koe te wā.
Tēnā koutou e te whānau, tautoko nāu nā mihia, kua mihia I te pōnei, no te waka tainui a hau, te iwi Waikato, ko Taupiri te maunga, ko Waikato te awa, ko tūranga māua I tōku marae, ko Ngaro Wāhi a tōku kainga. Koina te wāhi I tuku ake au. Whānau, I'm from Ngaro Wāhi, I'm third generation tūranga wāwai marae. My background is in tertiary education. In fact, this is my home. This is where I worked for 25 years. I was actually one of the very first Māori counsellors here. I then went on to teach one of the only Māori counselling degree programs in Aotearoa. Thereafter, I managed the very first Māori and Pacifica student support services here, and then finally landed as the operations manager for our beautiful Wintec Marae Te Kopu Māori or Kirikiriroa. So it's really good to be home. It feels good and it's grounding for me because I've been around to a lot of Meet the Candidate evenings, and I've been listening to a lot of tauiwi kōrero. So it's nice to be in a room full of our people. Now, what was one? So that's a bit about me. So what am I standing for? This is actually my second election standing for mayor, which means that covers the whole of the Waikato district area. So those of you that are on the Māori in general roll, you can vote for me. Or if you know somebody that's living in the Waikato district area, they can vote for me. I'm also standing for councillor in one of the Māori wards, Tairunga. So if you're on the Māori roll and living in that takiwā, you can vote for me. There's about 14 different towns. So it's like Horachu, Ngaruawa here, Horsham Downs, Tauwhare, Tamahere, Eureka. Whatawhata. Let's not forget Whatawhata. To Kōwhai Raglan. So there's a number of towns. So if you know people that are living in those towns that are on the Māori roll, they can vote for me. The things that matter in my community are the protection and well-being of our taonga, and I'm talking about our whenua, our waterways, our whānau, our the towns that we live in, our whare, our marae, and so those are all top priorities for me to work on when I get into council. I've got a good feeling that I'm going to get into council this time round. I love your kōrero tipa. If you don't get in the first time, go back again, and that's me. Kia ora mai tātou.
Awesome. Tēnā koe Kirikiriroa. Okay, so next up we have Horiana. Do we have a video for Horiana? No, that's okay. Okay, so Horiana, again, Horiana actually stood in the by-election this year. Again, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think that she actually stood in the by-election for the Hamilton East Ward. Horiana this year is standing for Hamilton City Council as the mayor, and again she's standing in the Hamilton East Ward this year. She's of Ngāti Maniapoto, Ngāti Tiwhare Raukawa ki te Tonga, Ngā Rauru, Ngāti Ruanui, and Ngāti Tama. She did say that she was going to be here. Hoi anō. If she does walk in, we'll give her the opportunity of 2 minutes. Look, I do see some other candidates who have arrived nice and late. So bring your chairs up to the front. Cheryl Martinga, Paniora Matatahi, hau mai. Okay, so next up we have Jess Hona. Sorry again, this is Jess is she hasn't come this evening, but that's okay. So Jess Hona is standing. She too is standing in for Hamilton City Council. She too is standing in the East Ward. We had the opportunity of hearing Jess Hona at in our August event. Again, if she does turn up, we'll give her the opportunity to speak later on. Okay, our next candidate for the evening, we have Amy Lee Hopa, and Amy Lee is standing in the Hamilton City Council, and she's standing for the East Ward. Kei a koe te wā, Amy.
Ko Waikato te awa, ko taupiri te maunga, ko potata te tangata. Waikato tani wharau he piko. He piko he tani wha. Tēnā koutou koe ni hopa tōku ingoa, huri au, noko nei no Waikato, ko Ngāti Wairere te hapu, ko hoka nui me tau hei ngā kainga o kumatua tūpuna. Tēnā koutou. Aira, my name is up there, I'm Amy Lee Hopa. I am standing for a general seat in the East Ward of Hamilton City Council. Why am I standing? It's because I want to encourage more of our whānau to get involved in what we call politics. It's not as scary as it sounds. Politics or our regional councils or local councils, they are a representation of governance. So if you've ever sat on a board, a school board, a board of trustees, that is pretty much the entrance way into sitting on council as well. So what it is, what you're meant to be is a representation of your community, and why we need different people sitting at the table is because our community is so diverse. So even though I might be young, I might be Māori, I do know that within that, there are more facets of our young people out there. So I'm only one voice. The kaupapa that I'm coming into council for is around transparency and decision making, to encourage more of our people to jump in or to learn more about what and how council can help ourselves and our whānau. will always go back to the well-being of our whānau, and it's not just our whānau, but with that comes the taiao, our education systems. Not that it's necessarily involved in these council processes, but the education around what is council is helpful. Otherwise, that's pretty much me. Thank you for this time. Mihi to guys, mihi to our candidates. Lovely to see our young people up here. And thank you, Tony Kura, for hosting us.
Kapa, tēnā koutou. Look, actually, just before I move on to the next candidate, I just want to make a quick plug. Again, just really want to take the time to acknowledge Tainui Live for running this event. So if you don't already know, this is actually streamed live. So again, for those of you whānau who aren't here this evening, please get on Facebook and encourage them to get on. So if they aren't here at Tinana, they can join us ipurangi. So next up we have Malaina Huaki. Malaina Huaki unfortunately was unable to make it this evening, but we have, however, put together a little video. Malaina's standing for Hamilton City Council for the Kirikiriroa Māori ward. Bear with me, I'll just try and see if I can play this. Oh, Sharon, I need your help. Sorry, just while all of that's happening, again, I encourage you, so if you did come and walk in here late, we do have kind of like a parking question on the left-hand side. So I encourage you, please, if you have any kind of parto, grab a post-it note, write your parto down, and I encourage you just to post it, put the post-it note up on the pānui there. Again, also to plug voting. So voting, if you don't know already, opens up this Friday. Opens up this Friday. So please, it's super noticeable. It's orange. So do not just leave them or throw on the table. What often happens with a lot of our whānau, they end up just throwing it in the rubbish. But this year in particular is a different year. It's a first in a lifetime kind of generation opportunity, because actually it's the first time that our whānau will have the opportunity specifically to vote for Māori wards. And so the hope is that now they have the chance to see people who look, sound, and are them to be reflected in council. So the hope is that they don't just kind of grab those and throw them straight into the rāpahi, that now it presents for them the opportunity to actually get out and vote. So I'm just going to quickly play Marlena's video, and we'll go to the next person following that.
No Waikato whānui ahau, ko Ngāti Mahuta ki uta, ko Ngāti Mahuta ki tai ngā hapu, ko Tainui te waka, kei Kirikiriroa ahau e noho ana, ko Malaina Huaki tōku ingoa. Kia ora, my name is Malaina Huaki, and you have the opportunity to vote for me in one of the 2 new Māori ward seats here in Hamilton City, Te Kaunihera or Kirikiriroa, so I'm asking you to vote for me. My background is in education. This has helped me form my values and a deeper understanding of equity in practice. Today I stand beside our tupuna awa Waikato, the very source of our existence. And like the newly established Māori ward seats here in Kirikiriroa, my focus is to keep our people moving forward.
I am grateful for this opportunity to share with you all a little bit about me. My worldview is unapologetically Māori. And what does that mean? What does that look like, you may ask? It looks like everyone working together. It sounds like positive and uplifting discussions and solutions that suit everybody. My worldview encourages us all to go to the source of the problem and fix it from there, instead of continuing to simply put a plaster on the wound and expecting it to go away. We need solutions. We need to look for better options that stop perpetuating being a slave to the system. Teach our people how to fish rather than waiting and expecting the fish to arrive at the dinner table. Teach our people how to grow kai and to look after our environment at the same time. The introduction of the Māori seats will bring different discussions and views at the table over the next 3 years. If we continue to do the same, we will continue to get the same results that we have had for 182 years. Be courageous with your choice this year. Choose one for Malena. Like you, I will be courageous at the table for you.
Is that happening? Goodbye. No, Michelle's not here. Do I have a video for Michelle? Okay. Oh, God. Here we go.
Same place I downloaded it, so you shouldn't have to.
Cool. So next up we have Michelle Levy. Michelle Levy is of Waikato and Ngāti Mahuta descent, and she too is standing in the Waikato District Council. Tēnā koe, Jess, I just saw you walk in. You're more than welcome to come and grab your seat and come up to the front. Sorry, Michelle Levy, she's standing for the Raglan Community Board in the Waikato District Council. Oh, no. How do I do this? Spacebar? It's so typical, eh? You practice all of this before the event, and then when the time happens, it always kind of like bungs up. That's okay. Is it? No?
I don't know really.
What a great problem to have, though, in means of like not having enough seats for candidates. No, straight up, like. And my experience running, because I ran in local council back in 2019, was that it was like, look around the room and kind of spot the Māori. And now to kind of look around the room and to see this many of Māori standing, not only in Māori wards, not only in Māngai Māori seats, not only in community boards, but mayoral candidates and whānau who are sitting in general seats. So that is such a huge achievement. And again, just really, really want to acknowledge all of you who have decided to run this year. Okay, so we've got the tech back up and running. Let's go. So again, this is Michelle Levy, and she's running for the Waikato District Council for the Raglan Community Board.
Ngā mihi nui ki a koutou, ko Michelle Levy tōku ingoa, he uri au mō Waikato mi Ngāti Mahuta, and I'm standing for the Raglan Community Board. So just a couple of things about me. Most of my work is as a writer analyst in the Māori health space, and really in areas where we're looking at transformation using our own models and paradigms such as whānau order and mahi atua. So for me, these local body elections are really all about transformation, and I felt an obligation just to bring my skill set to the table at this time and make my contribution to creating pathways for others in this space. I love hashtag Mokopuna Decisions because it captures the value base and the lens that is needed for everyone at the decision-making table, not just Māori. So everyone at that table should be acting from the perspective of being a good ancestor, and everyone at the table should be intentional in applying the values of whanaungatanga, of manaakitanga, and of kaitiakitanga to our decision-making. And lastly, in making mokopuna decisions, I want to be looking forward, because we can only go forward from this point. There's no going back from here. We can only grow in these spaces now. So in 3 years' time, I want to come back with 2 or 3 others that I've supported and mentored into these spaces and built their confidence to participate in these spaces. So there's some exceptional rangatahi standing this time round in these elections, and I know there's more out there, and those are the ones that I want to be finding and building their confidence to grow in these spaces. So finally, a huge mihi to Taurikura for their work in collectivising these efforts for transformation in these local body elections. To all the candidates, collectively our presence as candidates has already transformed the face of these elections in ways that we haven't seen before. So regardless of whether we're successful in obtaining our seats or not, I think we should really never forget the significance of this moment now and the significance of our role in it. And to all the whānau out there, be part of this transformation, so you need to get out there and vote, and you need to make sure you take all your whānau with you as well. Kia ora.
Ka pai. So next up we have Mishwela McDonald. So Mishwela is of Ngāti Huarere, Te Rarawa and Ngāpuhi descent. And Mishwela is standing in the Waikato Regional Council for the Hamilton Ward. Kei a koe te wā.
Kia ora koutou. Ko te ahuahu te maunga, waihu te awa, ko ngā tuku ma te whaurua te waka, ko tauwhara te marae, ko Mishwela McDonald tōku ingoa, no te taitokerau hau, engari kei Kirikiriroa e noho ana hau e nai nei. Kia ora, good evening. Have you ever heard of a candidate called Mishwela before? It's pronounced exactly as it's written, Mishwela McDonald. I was born in Northland, but don't hold that against me. I got here as fast as I could. My husband and I own 3 businesses in Kirikiriroa, and we have 3 little boys. I was educated up at the university, and I hold undergraduate degrees in law and management and a master's in management. And for the last 3 years, I've worked at the regional council in the youth space, in the rangatahi space, and you may have heard of Rangatahi Voices. That's the crew that I tautoko. So because I've been at the regional council, I understand how the beast works. Now, did you know that you've never actually had a candidate with an inside perspective before? When I put my nomination forms in, I was given this list of 5 pages of protocols to keep. But I was told, hey, actually, we've never tested these before, so you are our guinea pig. I thought, kia ora, I thought that was pretty special. So anybody who knows me knows that I am a person of integrity and high principles. Now, with a name like Mishwela, you can all Google me and you can find out whatever you want about me. Google's going to take you straight to me. Can't hide anything. And I've been in Kirikiriroa since I was 17 years old. So I've made my place here. Now, the reasons why I'm standing are I would like to get our awa cleaned up sooner rather than later. Did you know that the current regional plan is to have our awa clean by the year 2096? That's right, 2096. So by then, we're all going to be compost and my kids will be in their 80s. But we need to do better than that. I also think we pay too many rates. I think we have to live within our means. Right? If we don't have enough money, we have to reprioritise. The regional council needs to do the same. They need to live within their means and reprioritise instead of just putting the rates up, because we want to keep Kirikiriroa affordable. So I'm standing as a candidate to make sure that the regional council play their part in making a better today for us and a better tomorrow for our mokopuna. Kia ora.
Awesome. Tēnā koe, Miss. Thank you. So next up we have James Mahara. James Mahara is standing in the Otorohanga District Council. Unfortunately, James is unable to make it this evening. Do we have a video for him? No. Well, this is the good-looking James Mahara. So if you're living in the Otorohanga District Council area, please vote for James. Kia ora. Again, unfortunately, our next candidate was unable to be here because he's decided Singapore was a far better place to be at the moment. All with good reasons, by all means. So this is Riki Manarangi. Riki is of Ngāti Raukawa, Ngāti Pikiao, and Ngāti Whakaue. Riki is standing in Hamilton City Council for the East Ward, and he too is another mayoral candidate, so he's standing for Mayor of Hamilton City Council.
Mihi mahana tēnei ki a tātou katoa, ko waiahau, he uri tēnei no te aroa no Ngāti Raukawa no Arani no Kuki Arani hoki, Kiriki Manarangi toko ingoa. I'm Ricky and I need your vote. I'm putting my hand up for council because I'm proud of our city. Having lived in the east of Hamilton for 20 years, I understand our community's challenges and opportunities firsthand. I'm proudly Māori and Pacifica, which empowers me to walk in both spaces for our people. Educated at our local University of Waikato in law and strategic management enables me to navigate council's endless red tape, and supporting local community groups over the past 15 years in governance roles means I have plenty of touchpoints within our community. But most importantly, having managed our council's policies and bylaws for over 4 years means that I understand how this council works. During this period, I have to work with staff right across the organisation, engage our community on significant issues and wants, and spend time in council's chambers where all the decisions get made. But I suppose you're still thinking, pai rawa te kōrero. But really, bro, why have you put up your hand to represent us? Well, because with this Pūkengan background comes responsibility, I believe, especially when I feel we can do things heaps better. Engagement in local government is embarrassingly low. People are disengaged because I believe they don't trust the system. Yet everything we do involves local government. The footpaths, flushing the toilet, kicking the football around the backyard. All this says to me is that we need to do things heaps smarter. So, what's the fix? Well, I believe the piece missing in this decision-making is you. I want you to be a part of the decision-making going forward. So I have only one promise for you, that I put forward my view on every significant decision and then empower you to decide. I believe working together, we can make our growing city, Hamilton Kirikiriroa, even better. And if you agree, share the kōrero with others and vote Ricky. Kia ora.
Ka pai. So next up we have Tracy Marinui. So Tracy's of Waikato, Ngāti Naho, Ngāti Pou, and Tracy is standing for the Huntly Community Board in the Waikato District Council. Kei a koe, Trace.
Kia ora e te whānau. Oh, there's what it is. No, I'll just stand here. Ko ai au, ko Tracy Marinui tōku ingoa. He uri tēnei no Waikato Tainui. Me Ngāti Mahanga, kanoho ai ki Rahui Pōkeka. So, yeah, my name's Tracy Marinui, and I'm standing for the community board in Rahui Pōkeka. My main focus is to, oh, do you guys hear that? That's jitters, I'm nervous. My main focus is to create a safe and stable future for our rangatahi, to create pathways in not just one space but many, so gives them a chance to adapt and adopt new learnings. And I just want to give back to the community that has given me so much. Hold on, it's on my phone. I practiced it. So if I'm chosen as a Māori and a rangatahi, I'll be sure to ask 101 questions. Who's that going to? Where's that money going to? Is it for our youth? Oh no, let's use it for our youth. To press those boundaries to see how far we can go for our youth, and connect with them so they know the no and are in the conversation and not the topic of the conversation. Okay. Kia ora!
Awesome. Tēnā koe, Tracy. Ka pai. Yeah, look, so unfortunately, again, Luke was unable to make it. So Luke is standing for the Waitamor District Council in the Urban Ward. But given that we've had other candidates join us this evening, I'm actually going to hand the time over to them. So let's kei a koe te wā Pamiora. No kowai no whea te hato tuanga.
Ya hiwara, kaya puranga tira, tia tau piri e karangane. Kaya patiara, na tau kiara to, te nā tapatahi mai ki te kotahi tanga e. Te nā tātou katoa. Koe au, ku Pāniura matahi tēnei. He uri au, no Waikato, no Maniapoto hoki, ko tāku, ko te whakamānawa I te kotahi tanga o roto i a tātou. No reira, tēnā tātou e kotahi nei te pōnei, tēnā koe kawe, mo te kawe i a mātou mahi o roto i ēnei āhuatanga o te kauihira. He oi anō, ko tāku noa, te tū, te whakakano i mai, i taku ingoa, ko Pāniora matatai pautapu. Ki runga i te pepa ka kia, ko tūtata matatai pautapu. He whakapaparanga no tāku tōku tūpuna. He oi anō, e pai ana te kite i a Ngāti Mahuta e takahi ana i ngenei ara o te whenua, o i ngenei ara o te kaumihera. Tēnā koe malaina, tēnā koutou o Ngāti Mahuta, Ngāti Mahuta Takaroa, Ngāti Mahuta Kiuta, Ngāti Mahuta Kitai, tēnei o mātou o Ngāti Mahuta, e mihi ana. Ko Waipa, tōku tūranga wāua, tōku kāinga, tōku manawa nui, tōku manawa ora, i roto i aku mahi, haere ake. Ko rāhui pōkeka, te wāhi, ko te paina, e te putu, te tupuna nei a Mahuta, ko paua rā te rāhui ki roto ki a mātou, ka kia mai, paua te rāhui pōkeka tia te iwi. Put the stake in the ground and look after our people. So ko tā mātou te tū, hei whakakanohi, hei waha, i ngā mātou tirohanga, i roto i te kaumihera, o tira, ko te mea nui kia tātou, ko te whakamānawa i a mātou rangatahi, ka kaha tō tātou pōti i roto i ngā mea katoa. Ahakoa te local, ahakoa te government, me kaha tō tātou whakaakiaki i a tātou anō ki te pōti. Ko tāku he reo Māori, te reo tuatahi, koe nā te take ka tūau ki roto i te reo Māori, e mihi ana ki te wiki o te reo Māori. Nō reira, tēnā tātou katoa.
Ai, tēnā koe, ai, tautoko ngā mihi, tautoko ngā kōrero. Ka fōti te rāka ki a koe taku tuahine Cheryl. Ko wai no whea, he ho tūranga.
Kia ora tupare, tēnā tātou, taupiri te maunga Waikato te awa, ko Waipa, ko Waingaronga Marae, ko Cheryl Martin ngā hau. I tūau, what is the name for councillor? Oh, well, anyway, I stood for councillor last elections, and unfortunately Cheryl didn't sign her paper and then invalidated myself to stand. But I think it was a blessing in disguise, because one of the things that come from that was actually the kōrero of council become normal around our whānau, become normal around our community, become normal in the circles that we were in. And one of the beautiful things is standing here, and there's so much more of us, even though we're not here tonight, there's so much of us that are standing, and we want our voice to be heard, which is that, yeah, it's the beauty in that. I think, I'm standing because there's this photo of the current council, and it is definitely not a reflection of my community. Sure. It's definitely not a reflection of the voices that we'll carry into that space, and so we weren't able to put that up. Nah. And you don't want to see it anyway. And so that's us. But really, just standing for the local community board, to echo a voice, our voice. It's important, and one of the big things that we're focusing on this round is, even if you don't vote for me,
or you don't vote for us as long as you're voting. You know, we don't want to have those statistics, Māori don't engage, Māori don't do this, Māori don't do that. We hear it enough times. You know, then I think part of our community and part of our people start to believe that. Anyway, rambling now. Yes, Cheryl, under community board,
Tēnā te Cheryl. So, look, unfortunately, Arama was unable to make it this evening, but Arama Ngapo is of Ngāti Tamatera, Ngāti Maru, Ngāti Pukenga, Ngāti Pawa, and Ngāti Parau. She is currently a councillor in the South Waikato District Council for the Tokoro Ward. However, Arama is seeking she's a mayoral candidate for this year. And yeah, so she was scheduled to be here this evening, but that's okay. Me haere tonu tātou. Again, next up we have Candy Ngātaki. Candy is standing in the Waikato District Council, and she is standing in the Tuakau Pōkeno Ward. And I don't think we have a video for her either. Alrighty, yeah, we'll see the price of sending your video through late, we won't be showing it. Kia ora.
I've been trying to look it up and get it into the live stream through the break.
Kapo.
Fresh back from Wakaama World.
Yes, actually, yes, koina. Yeah, so I just actually, yeah, so there is some merit behind that. So she is fresh, coming back from the Wakaama Worlds in London. So that will be your excuse for this evening. So next up, we have our next candidate. So Donna Pōkere Phillips. Donna is standing in the Hamilton City Council for the Kirikiriroa Māori Ward. She also is standing as a mayoral councillor, mayoral candidate. So kei a koe te wā, Donna, kia ora.
Nā mihi nui kia koutou e kupi mai nei. Ko waia o Donna Pōkere Phillips a hau.
Tēnā.
Kia ora. Oh, that's better. Ai, he uri no tainui tuwhi tō taranaki hoki a hau. I'm really excited. I'm excited because there are so many of us standing. I've been involved in politics for many, many years, and sometimes you were looking at yourself in the mirror. So I just would like to congratulate everyone here standing. I mean, it's huge, ngami, and it does take a bit of courage. You know, and it does take diversity as well, because we are diverse in our Māori space. Sometimes we like Earl tea, sometimes we like green tea, sometimes we like milk and sugar with our tea. So you've got your pick of teas here. What am I standing for? Well, I've been living in Kirikiriroa for over 25 years and in Norton for nearly 20 years. And the reason why I put my hand up for mayor is not to be mayor. Because we know the majority aren't going to vote for someone like me. The reason why I put my hand up for mayor is because I want to put some issues on the table that they need to discuss. And the issues that I want to put on the table is one is housing. We have over 1,000 homeless whānau. Now, you don't have to be sleeping in a car or sleeping under a bridge to be homeless. You could be couch surfing. You could be sleeping marae styles. You could be sleeping in the garage. Now, the current leadership want to sell our civic building to developers, and they want to create a hotel. Why don't we use that asset to house our whānau? So that's one taki I've put on the table. The other taki is I've been living in Norton, as I said, for nearly 20 years, and I have seen no investment in our Norton community. Our roads have never been done up, our footpaths have never been done up, our driveways have never been done up. And worse, our parks have been stripped, and the funds are actually going into the wealthy communities. My son just bought a whare over in Rotatuna, and boy, you want to see their park. We've got children in every whare in our community, and when they take away the swings, the parks, they've got nowhere safe to play. So, you know, that's about equity, eh? That's about creating communities of haves and have-nots, and we are creating those community whānau. So I'm there amongst all these tauiwi, and we just had a full house, a Rotary full house, and those are the issues that I'm putting on the table. I'm also saying to them, don't be afraid to have Māori on the council. We have a lot more to offer. Don't be afraid of us. We have 3 Māori standing as candidates, standing for mayor in Kirikiriroa. That's exciting. That's exciting for our people. And I just want to acknowledge Horiana and Ricky, because they put their hand up. It takes a lot of kahunas to get in front of farmers, business people, millionaires. I heard there was a billionaire in the Rotary when we were there. It takes a lot of kahunas. It takes more kahunas to actually put on the tipu what they don't want to hear. They don't want to hear that they're creating communities of haves and have-not. They don't want to hear that they are taking the swings and the slides from our community. They don't want to hear that. But if you vote someone like me, they're going to hear that. Now, I have a legal background. My master's is in Māori resource management. I have been working in local government for longer than I want to think about. So I've got a huge amount of experience. But here's the difference. Here's the difference. I can discern and I can consider what that particular policy or legislation and how that is going to impact on our people moving into the future. So I hope you give me an opportunity. Vote for me, Donna Pōkere Phillips, co-leader for the Outdoors and Freedom Party. Kia ora mai tātou.
Kia ora, tēnā te Donna. Okay, so next up we have, is this the right one? Yep. So next up we have James Ratana. James is standing on the House and City Council for the Kirikiri Māori ward. Kei a koe te wā, James.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko James Ratana hau, no Ngāti Hine, yes, that's the north, yes. Kaitahu me Ngaitirangi Okiiwi, and I'm standing for the Kirikiriroa Hamilton ward. Why am I standing? It's been repeated many times tonight, my kaupapa. And my kaupapa kind of, well, it does centers around this, and basically you're not going to hear me talk about all the issues that are in our city because there's talented people here to talk about that. What you're going to hear me talk about is where are our people, where are our votes, why are we not engaged, why do we not have a relationship with our local council, and how are you going to do that? Or how is that going to benefit us? Well, my background is in film and media. I'm a filmmaker, videographer. So I'm a storyteller. And my skill set is I take information and what I do is I deliver it to my audience, my target audience, so they can understand it. And what I plan to do if I'm voted in is to take all the information that council have that in my opinion is very poorly delivered to our Māori people, because for whatever reason, they're not understanding it, they don't care about it, and they're ignoring it. So take all that information and deliver it and empower our people to use that information so that in 3 years' time, we can sit back at an election and we can have an influx of Māori leaders standing, but we will have the votes ready to vote them in. Because as I see it, council, you just get whitewashed. Oh, I've got no other way to say it. I have friends in councils around the country and they get disheartened when it's time to vote. The brown hands go up and then the non-brown hands go up and there's more non-coloured than coloured, and then the kaupapa gets washed away. And how do we defeat that? Well, we vote our Māori leaders in. And so if I'm elected, I'll spend the next 3 years building an information highway with wonderful people like Tainui Live, have a relationship with them, so that our Māori people understand what's going on here in Kirikiriroa. So, yeah, vote 1 for James Ratana. Kia ora.
Tēnā koe, kia ora, James. So next up we have Marlene Raumati. Unfortunately, Marlene was able to be here this evening. Marlene is standing for the Wainanga Whetikahu ward under the Waikato District Council. Next up we have Gayleen Roberts. Ko mai te paki. So Gayleen Roberts is standing in the Waikato District Council and she is standing in the Māori, Waipa, bias, Waikato. No, Waipa District Council and she's standing in the Māori ward. Kei a koe te wā, Gayleen.
Ko te atua tō tata pēnea ka puta ka ora. Ko Galen Roberts hau e tua kene. Ko manga taipiri te manga, ko manga oho e te awa, ko parawera te marae, ko nātu were ko puta hapi, ko parawera kei ko nei, e tūnei. So I'm standing in the Waikato ward. Yep, if anybody took any notice, I put my hand up when Tippa asked about those who lived in Hamilton. Yep, I live in Hamilton, have done for many years. But that does not mean my marae is in Parawera and Taumuru, and that's what matters to me. And so for 30 years, so my dad, Peter Kirikiriroa, and it was an initiative of Tippa's dad, Sir Robert Mahuta from the Māori Trust Board days. They put together, they met with the Waikato District Council 31 years ago. So we've held a relationship with our council for that long. And on May the 20th at 11 a.m, 3 times we have tried to get a Māori ward in Waikato, but on the 20th of May at 11 a.m, the council voted to establish a Māori ward. And that's historical. That is historical for us. But otherwise, who am I? I'm a mother of 3 men. They're not boys, they're men. 8 mokopuna and 1 mokomoko, and I'm the proudest nanny yet. Why do I stand? For those mokopuna. That's why I stand. I do everything for those mokopuna. My other thing is water. So if everybody listened to what Kingi Tuheiti, a Pōtatai te Wherewhero te Tuawhiti said at his kura nei ana, we have been dealing with water since Pōtatai. When Governor Gray said his cows will drink all the water, and what he meant is that there'll be no more water and we will perish. Well, that's not true, because we've still got water. It's pouring with rain outside, and we are still here. And so water is not a new thing for us, but that is a big thing for the Waikato District Council is about water. The other thing I stand for is exactly what Tippa said. I don't know all the answers, but I do know enough people to find the answers. I'm sure of that. Hey, Mr. Hill. But otherwise, you know, I'm standing because I believe that all of the old people who worked 30 years ago to make this relationship, it's my business to continue it until some mokopuna comes along and lets me retire in peace. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou.
Tēnā koutou, kia ora. So next up, we have Dan Steer. Unfortunately, Dan is unable to join us this evening. Ka tukunga whakaru ki aia me tōna whānau. Unfortunately, Dan's grandfather passed away, which is largely why he's unable to be here. But Dan is of Te Whānau Apanu in Ngāti Awa descent. He's standing in Hamilton City Council and is standing in the West Ward. Next up, we have Ronald Tākere. He's standing in the Waitomo District Council, and unfortunately, Ronald himself too isn't able to be here this evening. Next up, we have Moko Tawariki. So Moko Tawariki is of Ngāti Naho, Ngāti Haua, Ngāti Wairere, Ngāti Mahanga, Duits, Ngāti Maita descent, and Moko is standing in the Hamilton City Council for the Kirikiriroa Māori Ward. Kei a koe te wā, Moko.
Kia ora tātou, huri anō no konei, tēnā koe e te tumuaki, anō kia koe e te pāpā e whakapuari mō tātou nei pō mō te karakia. Hey whānau, there are people in this room that have actually helped shape me. There are people in this room that have actually invested their time into Moko Tawariki. And there are people in this room who will actually hold Moko Tawariki to account. And so when Moko Tawariki goes on his own little kaupapa, those people will not be whakamā to rein me back in when I need to be reined back in. And we certainly need that. Hey, look, whānau, I want to be, it's not lost on me, the place that we're going into, all of us. It's not lost on me that I'm wanting to vie for a seat in the council that voted against the Māori wards last year. And through the mobilisation of you, many of you in this room, they changed their decision. It takes a radical act in order for us to effect change. To my fellow councillors, Māngai Māori, these are radical decisions. These are courageous decisions. These are tupuna decisions. These are mokopuna decisions. It's not lost on me that the type of person that we need in council is somebody that's able to be resilient. My knowledge of policy, my involvement in council, the fact that I understand how planning and all of that stuff works is not going to mean anything if I'm not able to sit at the table and take the bullets, take the hits, take the racism that I know that is coming my way. And it takes a particular type of person to be ready for that sort of stuff. And I believe that's the quality that many of us around here, some of us may possess that quality, some of us may not. Some of us will take a little bit of time to actually get that type of learning. There are some people in this room that have given me that time. They've given me the time to prepare myself and to be ready. I'm ready, whānau. I believe I've been primed for places like the Kauni Hira. I believe that you need me in there. I want you to put number one, but to be fair, I'm not really petitioning you for your vote because you already know who you're going to vote for. But what I want you to do is a cousin tell another cousin. Actually, go tell your auntie. Get your auntie to go tell the whole tribe. That's what we need you to do, okay? Because along my journey, whānau, I've been educating people around how to check their enrollment status, little basic things like this. And things like this are going to help us for next year as well. So I'm not just thinking about this term. I'm thinking about the decisions that we're all going to need to make come next year as well. Okay, so we enroll a kazi right now, we enroll a whānau right now, we're actually helping to prepare them for next year as well. Kia ora tātou.
Awesome. Tēnā koe moko. Kia ora. Next up, we have Tanya Timuni Syme. Unfortunately, she's unable to be here this evening. She too is standing in Hamilton City Council for the East Ward. So next up, we have Te Pora Thompson. Te Pora is standing in the Hamilton City Council for the Kirikiriroa Māori Ward. Kei a koe te wā, Te Pora. Kia ora.
Ka pai. Ngā mihi nunu kia koutou katoa I roto I tēnei whare kei taku tumu ake he rere a ngā ara ki a koe. O tira kia koutou katoa. Ko Te Pora Tamihana tēnei, he kōtiro o Ngāti Haua, he mokopuna o ngā mana whenua katoa o Kirikiriroa. The enduring vision is to truly achieve mana motuhake for our people and all the things that we do. So in doing that, recognise there's a space for mana motuhake and local government. I've been Māngai Māori alongside Norman Coe for the last term and half advocating, coming in behind, doing what our iwi and our mana whenua requires to be done at the decision-making table. That doesn't change at all, should there be a seat for me in the Māori board at the table. Two things that impact our people in our communities, racism, poverty. Those two things. The solutions to those in terms of local government is the three things that I'll go for. One, building the Māori infrastructure inside the council. We don't have a Māori GM. We don't have Māori leadership recognised sitting at the executive table. That's what's needed internally to start turning the tides for how the council is able to respond to us as people. So that's one. Community infrastructure, and we've all talked about the community infrastructure. That's the housing, that's the looking after our rangatahi, that's our playgrounds, that's everything that our whānau need to be able to thrive in our communities. The third one is ngā Pākehī Māori. We want to get rid of poverty. Let's talk about building up our economic development as a people, from our inland port all the way to our whanaunga who make the earrings in the garage and sell them out. But everybody has a role to play in putting an end to the poverty that our people experience, to bringing better outcomes for our people now and in the future. Ngā mihi.
Ka pai, tēnā koe Te Pora. Next up, we have Lisa Thompson. Unfortunately, again, Lisa's unable to be here. Lisa is standing again for re-election in Waikato District Council for the Whangaroa Ward. Lisa's of Ngāti Mahanga, Ngāti Whakamaringangi descent. So, koina. We also have Mātai Ariki Kaue Te Toki, who again is unfortunately unable to be here this evening. And he is standing for the Hamilton City Council again for the Kirikiriroa Māori Ward. Next up, we have Auntie Tilly. I feel weird. Tilly. So we have Auntie Tilly Turner standing for the Waikato District Council, and she too is standing in the Tauranga Takiwā Māori ward. Kei a koe te wā, Auntie, kia ora.
Kia koe e hami, e tuku mai te kariki mo tātou I tēnei pō, tēnā koe. Kia koe kawe, me Kirsty, me nui kia kōrua. Ko Tilly Turner taku ingo no ngā marae o aku marae ko te o marahi me Turanoa. I know the time is short, so I'm going to cut everything, all of my PPS short. I've got 3 kaupapa that I'd like to talk to, and that'll explain my whānau as well and everything that I'm involved with. Whenua, whānau and whaidara. Those are my 3 points. Why? Because I know them quite well. Whenua, in the time that I worked with Waikato Tainui and also Waikato River Care, I dealt with riparian planting for cleaning our waterways. It's a job that we started during Sir Robert's time, but I don't think we've gone enough to carry it on. So I know it's one of those things I'm going to stick to. It's a passion of mine, and I'm going to stick to and make our local council actually really amp that area up. Because of global warming, I think that's the reason why a lot of this stuff has to happen, and so that's my spiel for the whenua. Lots of other things to happen with whenua, but that's my spiel. Whānau. There's my tāne hone, we had 8 kids. We built an 9-bedroom intergenerational home. And we were in that home before COVID hit. And I'm telling you, it's the best way to the future. If I can do anything to start them building intergenerational living, that's one of the things I'm going to do. That gets us from being families in real poverty to resilient, thriving, striving whānau. And I proved this to everybody by saying this. When we first started this journey, I only had my 2 youngest of my 8 children had homes that they were paying mortgages for. It's now, we're into just about to the 5th year level. I have now 5 children that have their own homes. It's happened in this short journey. The thing that strikes me is that I've got 2 mokopuna who also bought their homes. So I'm telling you, this works. My 3rd is whaidara. We only have a little muscle fritter business, but we want to take that muscle fritter business global. And that might take us 30 or 40 years, but that's where it's going to go. The plan is there. We know why we want to do it, and that's going to start to build what we need to have as our, to expand on what we already have. Those are the dreams that this whānau has, and I know it'll fit for every whānau because we've done it. Kia ora tātou.
Awesome. Tēnā koe atu, kia ora. Unfortunately, James Fletcher was unable to join us this evening, but James is standing for the Waikato District Council in the Newcastle Ngāroa Wāhia ward. We do have 2 of our members who we called out earlier on, so I'm going to give the raka over to you. So, Horiana, kei a koe te wā, no whea ko wai. Yeah, sure.
I need some help standing up. Okay. Okay, so if you could all just close your eyes for a second, and I'm just going to talk us through a little of a imagination. So I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to see one of the windows in your home, and I want you to imagine bars on that window. I want you to see more police walking past your front window, past your lounge window, while your mokopuna sit in your lounge. I want you to walk down the main street of our city, and I want you to see surveillance cameras everywhere. Now I want you to open your eyes. Ko Horiana Henderson tōku inga. E tuana au mō te tūranga me te kai kaunihira ki te rāwhiti o Kirikiriroa. Karawhiua mai tō pōti tuatahi. I'm Horiana Henderson, and I'm standing for Mayor and East Ward candidate for our amazing city, Hamilton Kirikiriroa, and I'm asking for your vote. I've spoken at a few candidate events now, and I'm happy to discuss my thoughts and concerns around our city's high debt levels, while we're still spending on gold standard vanity projects like the $36 million walk and cycle bridge proposed to go by the Anzac Bridge, which is within easy walking distance of 2 existing bridges. I'm happy to talk about 3 waters and housing. Pretty much everything that goes on the moment you leave your front door, council plays a part in and makes decisions that impact all of our lives. However, I think that the most important thing to discuss here with you is around youth crime. We have members of parliament calling for 11-year-olds to be fitted with ankle bracelets, members of the public calling for harsher penalties for youth and repeat offending, and the fast tracking of tamariki mokopuna into youth correctional facilities. Here in our own city, our 2 leading mayoral candidates are taking firm stances on improving crime prevention because of all the harm that has and is being done by young offenders who are committing violent and destructive crimes. The solutions being offered by our current elected members include increasing police numbers within our city, increasing surveillance within our city, increasing city safe officers because they're the, quote, next best thing to a private police force. Speaking with university scholars, I'll skip a little bit. Henry David Thoreau said, for every 1,000 hacking at the leaves of evil, there is 1 hacking at the roots. Am I saying that our tamariki mokopuna are evil? No. But putting ankle bracelets on our tamariki mokopuna, to me, is. More policing of our already over-policed Māori communities is hacking at the leaves. Locking up more rangatahi is hacking at the leaves. Working together to work with whānau and addressing the issues that lead to these behaviours is hacking at the roots. If elected mayor or East Ward councillor, I will work with iwi, community groups, social services and government agencies to see how we can hack at the roots together. Ko Horiana Henderson tōku ingoa, e tuana au mō te tūranga mea, me te kai kaunihira ki te rāwhiti o Kirikiriroa, karawhiua mai tō pōti tuatahi. Amihi.
Tēnā koe Horiana. And lastly, we have Jess Hona. So Jess is standing again in the Hamilton City Council for the East Ward.
Kia ora tātou, ko Jess tōku ingoa, ko Ngāpui mena Waikato te iwi, ko Ngāti Pango mena Ngāti Tipa, ko I'll be careful what I'm saying, ko Ngā Tuki Matawhao Rua mena Waikato te waka. Kia ora, my name is Jess. So apologies to everybody because I was at another event and I told them I needed to hurry up, and so aroha mai for coming in. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about was, well, actually, I've heard lots of conversations, and I thought, gosh, can we make it more simpler than this? So how I summed up all of the conversations that we're having is, firstly, our people, second, our whenua, and third, our wai, water. So these are the topics that have been going on for decades. And I wanted to, I thought, no, we need to really sum this up and make this simple for our people, because this is what it's about, is, conveying the message to our people. So these are the 3 things that, that we've slowly been rebuilding. And a topic that came to me today was about co-governance. The thing with the co-governance is there's a lot of people out there, especially our Pākehā, they wish that we didn't exist. That's quite prevalent amongst a lot of the people, and that's what they dream, that we don't exist. However, we can change this message. We can put all of these things, and and give ourselves permission that we don't have to hold on to, you know, what was had in the past. What I want to work towards is unity. Yes, we still have so many grievances out there, but we want to be a part of the solution to bring all of these things together. I know it's not just challenging in the Pākehā space, but it also is challenging in the Māori space. But in order for us to, you know, achieve, and I know that with the Māori tikanga, it does work, but we need to be getting that message across with our Pākehā counterparts as well, that we can work together. I understand that those grievances are still so strong, but in order for us to create a better future for our children, we need to do that. We need to be, you know, working together. And, you know, if I want to say it to my Pākehā counterparts, I would say to them, get over it. But, you know, they don't take that. But, you know, we just need to start building more creative messaging with them, so then we're able to create that future that our mokopuna deserve. On another note,
Start wrapping it up, please.
Okay. So I just want to talk about so this is something I do know. So I've played decades of sports in my life. I've played rugby, netball, rugby league, touch, not just in New Zealand, but also in Australia. In Australia, I played for North Sydney Bears, so I led that team. Unfortunately, it was prior to the NRL that's come out now, so, you know, I was gutted. However, at this time, I am participating with Waikato Tainui men's and mixed netball. So I followed them around, helped them, but then also played for the Masters, and we are the current champs. Nō reira, kia ora.
Awesome. Tēnā koe, Jess. Ka pai. So this actually concludes this part of the evening. I know everyone must be starving by now. So we're going to have a small little break. Ka whoti te rā ki a koe te pāpā. Nau I tuki te karakia mo te kai.
Mai ngā roi mata ho rangi nui, ngā hauoro tāpiri mātia tānu mahuta kangaro, tūturo piti makamaua kia tīna.
Tīna. Tāu ki e. Ka pai, so please.
Ko Lisa Thompson Takuingoa. I'm looking forward to representing our community of Whangaroa for a third term as the Raglan Ward Councillor. I bring with me my work integrity, my hard-working ethic, and my considered approach to decision-making at the decision-making table at Waikato District Council. I bring proven leadership. I also bring a strong voice to the decision-making table that advocates for you, our community at District Council. I also bring a collaborative approach to decision-making. I build relationships based on trust, and it's this that I bring to the work alongside the Raglan Community Board, with hapu, with community, with key organisations and stakeholders, with my fellow councillors and also with Waikato District Council staff. I also am actively involved in our community. I roll up my sleeves and work passionately for you. I've co-convened our community safety and crime prevention steering group. I sit and actively work on the Raglan Business Chamber. I'm on the Whangaroa Raglan Affordability Project, and also I'm on our local climate action steering group. I'm involved in our school. I love our community, and I look forward to representing you for one more term. So kia ora, and I look forward to your vote. Ka kite.
He mihi mahana tēnei ki a tātou katoa. Ko waiahau, he uri tēnei nō te aroa nō Ngāti Rauka o nō Arani no Koki Arani hoki, kore ki manarangi toko ingoa. I'm Ricky and I need your vote. I'm putting my hand up for council because I'm proud of our city. Having lived in the east of Hamilton for 20 years, I understand our community's challenges and opportunities firsthand. I'm proud of Māori and Pacifica, which empowers me to walk in both spaces for our people. Educated at our local University of Waikato in law and strategic management, enables me to navigate council's endless red tape.
and supporting local community groups over the past 15 years in governance roles means I have plenty of touch points within our community. But most importantly, having managed our council's policies and bylaws for over 4 years means that I understand how this council works. During this period, I'll have to work with staff right across the organisation, engage our community on significant issues and wants, and spend time in council's chambers where all the decisions get made. But I suppose you're still thinking, pai rawa te kōrero. But really bro, why have you put up your hand to represent us? Well, because with this Pūkengan background comes responsibility, I believe, especially when I feel we can do things heaps better. Engagement in local government is embarrassingly low. People are disengaged because I believe they don't trust the system. Yet everything we do involves local government. The footpaths, flushing the toilet, kicking the whutupōro around the backyard. But all this says to me is that we need to do things heaps smarter. So, what's the fix? Well, I believe the piece missing in this decision making is you. I want you to be a part of the decision making going forward. So I have only one promise for you.
Ngā mihi koe. Greetings to all. Ko Tania toku ingoa. My name is Tania. Ko Tania ko tai rāwhiti. I am from Gisborne. I spent most of my childhood in South Auckland or Tāhuhu. I've been in Hamilton, Kirikiriroa for 17 years and I consider it to be home, and I've made it home. I live here with my family, my husband and my 2 boys and moko. I'm putting the soul back into the council. I'm getting out there into the community, talking with the people to find out what the issues are in the community. And that is ram raids, and crime has increased. I would like to bring my ideas to the table and my voice to represent the community. Supporting local business. I stand for East Ward, General Ward, Hamilton City Council. I am for the people. I want to listen to the people and I want to represent their voices. Thank you for listening. Tēnā koutou katoa.
No Waikato whānui ahau, ko Ngāti Mahuta ki uta, ko Ngāti Mahuta ki tae ngā hapu, ko tainui te waka, kei Kirikiriroa ahau e noho ana, ko Malaina Huaki tōku ingoa. Kia ora, my name is Malaina Huaki and you have the opportunity to vote for me in one of the 2 new Māori ward seats here in Hamilton City, Te Kaunihera or Kirikiriroa, so I'm asking you to vote for me. My background is in education. This has helped me form my values and a deeper understanding of equity in practice. Today I stand beside our tupuna awa Waikato, the very source of our existence. And like the newly established Māori ward seat here in Kirikiriroa, my focus is to keep our people moving forward.
I am grateful for this opportunity to share with you all a little bit about me. My worldview is unapologetically Māori. And what does that mean? Or what does that look like, you may ask? It looks like everyone working together. It sounds like positive and uplifting discussions and solutions that suit everybody. My worldview encourages us all to go to the source of the problem and fix it from there, instead of continuing to simply put a plaster on the wound and expecting it to go away. We need solutions. We need to look for better options that stop perpetuating being a slave to the system. Teach our people how to fish rather than waiting and expecting the fish to arrive at the dinner table. Teach our people how to grow kai and to look after our environment at the same time. The introduction of the Māori seats will bring different discussions and views at the table over the next 3 years. If we continue to do the same, we will continue to get the same results that we have had for 182 years. Be courageous with your choice this year. Choose one for Milena. Like you, I will be courageous at the table for you.
Kia ora tātou. Mihi ki te atua ki runga rawa. Nau rā te timatanga me te whakamutinga o ngā mea kato. Mihi a kingi tu heitia, po te tau te whero te tuawhitu, me tona whānau pai mariri ki a rātou. Ki ngā mate o te tau o te marama o te wiki nei, moi mai rā, kei te hunga ora, tēnā rā tātou katoa. Ko Waiau, ko Candy Ngātaki ahau. I am your Māori champion for the Tuakau Pokono General Ward. And I'm just zooming in tonight, and I'm very grateful to Kirsty and Kawe for allowing me to share a quick video on who I am and what I'm about. So I am a mother of 4 tamariki. I am very hard-working, loyal, and a very proactive mana wahine. Some of the other great things that I stand for is our community of Tuakau Pokono, but also for the surrounding areas, because hey, they are us and we are them, especially in the wider Waikato. I believe in good, clear communication, and it's very important for us as Māori to be and have a voice at all councils, on all councils. You know, finding solutions for issues. And it's crucial to be making intergenerational decisions for our rangatahi, our kaumātua, our pākeke, and especially for te taiao. Those are but a few of the things. The list goes on and on. Mahi a te mahi, hei painga mō tō marae, mō tō hapu, mō tō hāpori, e mō tā tātou iwi. So nō reira e te iwi. Just a little bit about myself. Kia kaha, kia maia, kia manawa nui. Good luck to all our voters. Good luck. Get out there and vote. Good luck to our Māori champions. Keep being amazing. And the thing that I like to always say is what's good for Māori is good for everyone. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā rā tātai katoa.
mihi mahana tēnei ki a tātou katoa. Ko waiahau, he uri tēnei no te arawa no Ngāti Rauka o no Arani no Kuki Arani hoki, kore ki manarangi toko ingoa. I'm Ricky and I need your vote. I'm putting my hand up for council because I'm proud of our city. Having lived in the east of Hamilton for 20 years, I understand our community's challenges and opportunities firsthand. I'm proudly Māori and Pacifica, which empowers me to walk in both spaces for our people. Educated at our local University of Waikato in law and strategic management enables me to navigate council's endless red tape. And supporting local community groups over the past 15 years in governance roles means I have plenty of touch points within our community. But most importantly, having managed our council's policies and bylaws for over 4 years means that I understand how this council works. During this period, I'll have to work with staff right across the organisation, engage our community on significant issues and wants, and spend time in council's chambers where all the decisions get made. But I suppose you're still thinking, pai rawa te kōrero. But really, bro, why have you put up your hand to represent us? Well, because with this Pūkenga and background comes responsibility, I believe, especially when I feel we can do things heaps better. Engagement in local government is embarrassingly low. People are disengaged because I believe they don't trust the system. Yet everything we do involves local government. The footpaths, flushing the toilet, kicking the whutupōro around the backyard. But all this says to me is that we need to do things heaps smarter. So, what's the fix? Well, I believe the piece missing in this decision making is you. I want you to be a part of the decision making going forward. So I have only one promise for you, that I put forward my view on every significant decision and then empower you to decide. I believe working together we can make our growing city, Hamilton Kirikiriroa, even better. And if you agree, share this kōrero with others and vote Ricky. Kia ora.
Ngā mihi nui ki a koutou, ko Michelle Levy tōku ingoa, he uri au mō Waikato mi Ngāti Mahuta, and I'm standing for the Raglan Community Board. So just a couple of things about me. Most of my work is as a writer analyst in the Māori health space, and really in areas where we're looking at transformation using our own models and paradigms such as whānau order and mahi atua. So for me, these local body elections are really all about transformation, and I felt an obligation just to bring my skill set to the table at this time and make my contribution to creating pathways for others in this space. I love hashtag Mokopuna Decisions because it captures the value base and the lens that is needed for everyone at the decision-making table, not just Māori. So everyone at that table should be acting from the perspective of being a good ancestor, and everyone at the table should be intentional in implying the values of whanaungatanga, of manaakitanga, and of kaitiakitanga to our decision-making. And lastly, in making mokopuna decisions, I want to be looking forward because we can only go forward from this point. There's no going back from here. We can only grow in these spaces now. So in 3 years' time, I want to come back with 2 or 3 others that I've supported and mentored into these spaces and built their confidence to participate in these spaces. So there's some exceptional rangatahi standing this time round in these elections, and I know there's more out there. And those are the ones that I want to be finding and building their confidence to grow in these spaces. So finally, a huge mihi to Taurikura for their work in collectivising these efforts for transformation in these local body elections. To all the candidates, collectively our presence as candidates has already transformed the face of these elections in ways that we haven't seen before. So regardless of whether we're successful in obtaining our seats or not, I think we should really never forget the significance of this moment now and the significance of our role in it. And to all the whānau out there, be part of this transformation, so you need to get out there and vote, and you need to make sure you take all your whānau with you as well. Kia ora.
Together these little paddles, and they've been provided this evening with the paddles. So the paddles are a clear indication of I guess your stance or whether or not you agree or disagree. If you are either, then just leave it down, but please make your statement clear. So for example, I might say New South Wales or Queensland, and so you will Oh, well, no, it's not even a yes or no. Maybe rugby league or rugby. Oh, no, this is the one. Okay, hello, clearly I haven't eaten. Those aren't my yes or no questions. Yeah, chocolate, anybody? Gin? Oh, Jim, or yeah, Jim, not Jim, Jim. Thank you. Okay, so we get the gist, right? Okay, so here are our quick fire questions. Our first question is again yes or no. Co-governance. Oh, hello.
You and I doing it.
I know, chocolate. Okay, next one is cycle-friendly roads and streets. Yes or no? Ko te ora te wai, ko te ora te tangata. Lower the voting age to 16.
No way.
Did you hear that? Why I gave and said, no way, they can't even wash their clothes out at that age. Retain Māngai Māori positions in councils. 6. Councils create alcohol and drug policy. Should they be responsible for reducing social harm as well?
Say that again.
So councils create alcohol and drug policy. Should they be responsible for reducing social harm as well? Kapai. All right, so that concludes our first little kind of quick fire questions. So this bit here is about obviously, so in order for you to stand in council, obviously you have to, first you have to know your patch. So know your community, what are the issues, and we've heard a little bit of that earlier on this evening. But what we're going to do, and this is actually, Kirsty's just going to select the candidates as to who's going to respond to these partai. She didn't know that was coming, but she needed a job this evening. So our first partai for the evening is, again, it's about knowing your patch, so the stories and of your place and community. So tell us about your patch. What are the best things about the communities and lohi you are standing for and that you hope to represent in council? Kirsty, who's our first one up?
There's now some boards coming around with a number on it. What we're wanting to do is make sure it's fair, like not start in the same place every time. So could candidate number 3 please tell us about your pitch? Yeah, no, that's still going to go around. Okay, tell us about your pitch. What's the best thing about your community?
Aroha Mom School Tree. Well, honestly speaking, I think the art in Rahui Pōkeka is beautiful. There's a lady already on the community board, her name's Edith, and she's running again. But she got the, when you first get into Huntly, and you see that, welcome to Rahui Pōkeka. I think that's beautiful as. And we have some, may look like graffiti, but it's like graffiti art.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. You can see that around Huntly too. And you.
Kia ora. Well, this time, could we hear from candidate number 3, please? Sorry, this was a way of randomising. We thought we wouldn't use the candidate number 3.
So what are the best things about the communities and lohi you are standing for and that you hope to represent in council?
The best thing about your community. Tell us about your patch.
About our patch?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're one of few councils who have let's start that again. So our council has had a relationship with mana whenua, tangata whenua and iwi for 31 years. There are not very many councils who can say that. What else?
What is the best thing about your community and the rohi you live in?
Oh, I live there. You don't? I do. Our Mariah's there. I do. I live there more than I live in my house. No, what do I love most about? It's because we are all whānau. We've got a great whanaungatanga in the Waikato area. I don't know so much about Cambridge, but in town we
I'm candidate number 12. Can we hear from you? Tell us about your pitch.
Just before you respond, sorry, I failed to say you have 30 seconds.
Candidate number 12.
I think Kirikiriroa it's a great place because we are so close to so many different things. That means that we have so many different types of people. We've got a really rich community. We've got, mana whenua. We've got, over the weekend I was with the Tongan community, with the Chinese community. We've got so many different types of people. And I think that's a great thing. I can just talk to the opposite of that is that I don't see that we have all of those people on council. So I think something that we need to be focusing on is to be getting more of our rich diversity of community into council.
Can we have here from candidate number 5, please? And we have 2 mics now.
Candidate number 5.
Aroha mai, these need to be front of house. I'm just backstage.
The best thing about my pitch is iwi mana whenua and things that we achieve in here. Best thing about our communities, we have strong community infrastructure with all the community houses. With another part.
Oh, kia ora. Thank you. Candidate number 6. Oh, you've already done yours, sorry. Candidate number 8. Can we hear from you? 8.
Kia ora, the coolest thing about my pitch is the people, always the people. Not just young people, but all of the diversity within. And if we want to connect with people, we'll always connect there. So what's the most important thing? Will always be people.
Candidate number 9. Where are you? Tell us about your pitch.
The best part about our pitch is the Kubara pitch. I think, there's this thing with the Rahu Pukaka that the masters at building up infrastructure and people, and there's this golden triangle that exists that nobody else outside of Rahu Pukaka really understand, but it's the collective of Marae Kura Club, and it's just a recycle type of 30 seconds. Kia ora.
Well, I'll just talk about Waikato District Council. We're a growing district, heaps of infrastructure happening at the moment, but I'm going to talk to where I come from, Taupiri. We hold our kingitanga, our king and queens, and our loved ones that we have lost. They are buried at Taupiri Maunga, and I'm fortunate enough to look at that every single day. And our awa that's beside it, so that is what is important about where I come from.
Candidate 15.
Kia ora. I'm belonging to 6 wards, so I really am at a loss as to whether I know the bigger part of my district. I live in Ngarawai and I do know a lot about Ngarawai. It's a beautiful spot, it holds the kingitanga. It has quite a unique flavour about it, I suppose, because it's very strong Māori background of kingitanga. But the rest of my ward, I have no idea yet, and I think, so whoever gets that seat has got a lot of learning to happen.
Candidate 11.
I think the awesome thing about Kirikiriroa is, to quote the song, we're like a big melting pot. All the iwi rohe from around our country find their way here for mahi, for kura, whatever it may be. So I feel like we're an amazing representation of Ngāi Māori katoa, ke koneki Kirikiriroa.
13, please. Candidate 13.
Oh, kia ora anō. Firstly, what I love about Kirikiriroa is our awa. What I love about my community, I've been living in Noema for a couple of decades. One is our primary school. A lot of people actually move into our district to attend our primary school. We have 75% Māori at our primary school, and they're very child-centric, so that's really exciting. The other thing I like about Noema is we are a community that doesn't have a lot, but we're very, very resilient. Kia ora mai tātou.
Well, that was it. Sorry. Candidate 1.
I like the fact that our mana whenua already have an entrenched role with Kaunihira. I like the fact that our mātāwaka also hold very strong relationships with the Kaunihira, Kirikiriroa. And I also like how Waikato Tainui is asserting its whairawa visions within the city, and I believe those are win-wins for our community. Kia ora.
Yeah. Candidate number 10.
I'll quickly call you for probably Waiho. It's the home of industry and the hub. That's why all the farmers tend to rock the boat in our seat. But in particular, I think of my town, Morrinsville, and it has my marae. Rukumoana is home. So that's probably the best thing for me. It's home.
You got 4? No, sorry. Okay, so what's your, sorry, I can get you over a minute. So what's the best thing about your pitch?
The best thing about the community I'm in is how resilient they are. There's a lot of setbacks and challenges. They've managed to practice for decades to overcome, and that's what I think, has been great about the community, is the resilience they've built through those setbacks and challenges. But more importantly is the people. The people in the community is what makes it great, what makes it beautiful, what makes it prosperous. Kia ora.
Okay, I think that's everyone now this time, so we'll just carry on. Oh, goodness, sorry. There's just aren't enough kahunas, as someone said. They actually aren't I think for interest of time, when we get to our next round of cards, we'll just do a random selection and we won't ask questions. We've still got to hear from our wonderful Tukamahus already.
Okay, so next, actually, just quickly, I wanted to plug. So again, I've already said earlier on this evening that voting effectively opens this Friday. So you will start receiving your voting papers. They most times, actually not all the time, they are orange, not yellow, not green. They are orange. And as I mentioned earlier, please do not just put them in the rubbish. You've had a chance to meet all your candidates. And then voting closes midday on the 8th of October, which is a Saturday. Just quickly, for those of you who haven't registered yet, there is a special process that you have to undertake. And pretty much without kind of going too much into detail, but basically you will have to cast a special vote. Again, I encourage you to go onto Vote NZ or onto your local council website for more information around about how you will cast your vote. But again, you would have to cast a special vote, given that you've now missed that the waka on that one. So next up we have so Te Wāheke Mai. So this is really about, this focuses on making mokopuna decisions. We've heard a number of people talk a little bit about this particular kaupapa. But there are some really kind of big ticket items that are on the horizon. And we know that change is coming. We've heard a number of candidates talk a little bit about them this evening. So one, of course, is Te Mana o Te Wai. So all the conversation, the lengthy discussions around Three Waters. You've got the RMA reform. Also some of the I guess some of the kaupapa that's surrounded around developing and building authentic relationships with iwi, mana whenua and Māori. We talk about things like climate change and mitigation, so Auntie Tilly talked a little bit about that. So we've got this particular line of pātai is going to specifically focus on these types of issues. So our pātai for this evening, pātai 2, is what excites you about the changes that are coming for local government, and also what concerns you.
Can we hear from Paniora, whose number I don't remember, but we didn't use the last time.
Tēnā tātou anō hoki, ko te reo Māori, te reo tuatai, he oi anō ko tāku te whakamārama i a te tirohanga, I roto i te reo Pākehā. What excites me about the changes that are coming for local government is us, as our stand in Te Ao Pākehā. We asked for a petition for Te Reo Māori, or we asked for Te Reo Māori to be revitalised. We got there. You know, there's been leaders back in our time that's pushed kaupapa within a Pākehā realm, and who's come out with something. Now, well, with our river, with te mana o te wai, ko tā mātou te whakamana. What is our solution? What is our way forward? And this is being able to do it properly with mana intact, with whakaaro Māori, with tirohanga Māori, with tikanga and values and principles not being compromised. So that's what's exciting about our the changes that we can make well, for the local government. And then what concerns me is the pushback of that. However, me tū tahanga, me tū maro, we've got to put a stake in the ground and make sure that we're there fighting. And I don't have concerns actually about that. I just have concerns of the challenges that may cause differences, because we're about working together.
And Paniora got twice as much time as everybody else is allowed to speak last time, but 30 seconds whenever you're free. Kia ora. Number 2, please. Can we have candidate number 2? What excites you and concerns you about the future?
Sit down for this one, I think. What excites me about the changes that are coming from local government, the fact that they're actually happening is the first thing. So just going around to the 3 meet the candidates, I've been hearing a lot of concerns about the whānau who are disillusioned at the lack of action that's been happening. People that have been on council, one was on there for 29 years. So I'm excited about the fact that change is coming and it's going to look brown. That's all I've got to say.
Kia ora. Number 4. Number 4?
Rangatahi. More rangatahi voices in council, we are coming. What concerns me is that people looking at us that we're young, that we're inexperienced. That's my concern. And we're not looked at as individuals like everybody else. We're looked at that we don't have the experience. But let me tell you, we do have the experience, and we need your faith to get us into these positions. So it's people like yourself that will help us to keep the fire burning in our bellies. We are the next generation, and we need you to take for us. Can I just, Kirsty, I want to say just one more thing. Last night I heard this kōrero. There is no room at the council table for learner drivers. If you want leadership at the council table, you need to have somebody at the wheel that's got experience. E ki, no learner drivers.
Candidate 6, please.
What excites me about the changes that are coming? We're going to be heard. I'm excited about being heard. and creating opportunities for the rangatahi, for more rangatahi to be heard. And I'm excited about the arguments I'm going to have with old people, old Pākehā people. Anyways, I'm just going to say it. Old Pākehā people. I'm excited about those conversations, and all that. I don't know, controversy that excites me. What concerns me? Probably nothing. Nah. Not really. Yep, nothing. Yeah, it was. Know how to pick the numbers, but what excites me is the fact that this is happening. And the fact that there's more of a presence of rangasahi and whānau getting involved. Not really what concerns me, but just something that I'm mindful of is let's not continue this on. Last time we had 38% of people vote in our last election in Hamilton City Council. So let's continue talking to our whānau, getting our friends along. Let's change it.
Yeah, Rite Tonu excites me that the wave of change is going to be Māori and young. What concerns me is that some of our whānau still aren't engaged and are disillusioned and or are being frightened away by older voters, by non-Māori voters, or by disinformation that their voice won't matter.
David, 12, please.
The thing that excites me and challenges me is the same thing. It's actually change. The reason it excites me is because all of the other industries have undergone change in the last 10 years. The energy sector's undergone change. The communications have undergone change. Transportation's undergone change. Local government, no change. So the fact that we are actually forcing change in, I think that's a really exciting thing. Now, that also challenges me also because I think local government makes a snail look fast. And so while we have to force these changes through, I'm a little bit concerned at the pace at which we can do that. I'm afraid that I'm going to get old before we're able to see change. So, I'm impassioned, I have energy, and I want to make things happen. Kia ora.
14, please. By the way, aging is just a myth for private children. 14. Oh, we had a 40. Okay, cool. We have the next part. Oh, the next quick fire round.
Kapai. Yeah, sure. I don't know about these number selections, eh?
Yeah, hey, what excites me is that the reforms that are coming are great, because that gives me an opportunity to exercise my mana mai motuhatanga in that space. Gives me an opportunity to exercise tino rangatiratanga in that space. It's taken 182 years for council to realise that actually you need us in there. And that's the first step towards giving some type of effect or meaningful expression to Te Tiriti o Waitangi. And so while that is only a first step, it is a step. And I'm looking forward to having those courageous conversations.
Kia ora, tēnā koe moko.
All I want to say is, in one of my mayoral debates, I said to them, they were concerned about the 2 Māori seats, and I said, if you look at Te Tiriti o Waitangi, actually it's 50-50. So we're actually being shortchanged here. So I'm excited that we started off with 2 seats. I'm excited that we are aiming for 50-50. Some of our whānau are saying we want 100%. The challenges are all the isms, racism, sexism, all those isms. So those are the challenges. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Kia ora. What excites me? We have fulfilled a dream. That's what excites me. We have fulfilled a dream of our people who are past, and we are moving forward.
what concerns me is don't get naive in the space, because naivety can, we can get lost in that space. Being in council myself, being in central government, we can get lost in the space. Kia ora.
Sorry, honey, you
I have a burning.
Sorry.
So yeah, what excites me is that last year there was no Māori voice sat at that decision-making table. That will not be the case this year, and possibly won't be a case on a wide range of fronts. And just how our whānau come together. So we have one person that says to us, we don't want any learner drivers at the table, right? So let that energize us to come together, find our connections to each other and look after each other. Because only 38% of people voted. So if all of our whānau are voting and they make those changes and they step forward and do that, then we can show them, not tell them, that we can be at that table.
Sorry, Auntie.
Sorry. What excites me is it's been said that our tupuna fought for this. Now it's our day to do the next fight. What the challenges are is whether we can stand up and look them in the eye and demand what we want to do.
Ka pai, ho mai ko te pakipaki. All right, so we're on our next, actually we're going to be on our last quick fire round. So again, yes or no. So greater diversity on councils lead to better outcomes, yes or no? Delayed response, laptop, come on. Longer council terms, 4 years would be more effective, I or Carl? Cool. 3, social procurement, i.e. support local business, training and employment. Just push the button. Increase papakaina models of development. RMA, Resource Management Act reform. So the reform of the RMA. And then last, living wage for council staff, at least.
Have you not seen them? No. So our final short answer round.
No, so we're going to go to the partai. So what we're going to do is we're actually just going to quickly grab, if someone can just grab the partai off the wall for me, anyone, don't all rush. So we're gonna take the partai to the floor. So as I have mentioned throughout this evening, we wanted to give you all the opportunity to ask some of the candidates some key partai. Now I hope I can read you guys' writing. I'm going to read the partai, and Kirsty's going to choose 3 to 5 people to answer. Okay, how do you know when you have had a positive impact or transformed spaces to achieve giving effect to te tiriti and equality for Māori? This is for Kirikiriroa ward and mayoral candidates. How do you know when you have had a positive impact or transformed spaces to achieve giving effect to tiriti and equality for Māori?
So from experience, 3 things. 1, Māori wards for Te Kirikiriroa or Kirikiriroa. 2 is the He Paumanawa Ora Māori strategy, and 3 would be supporting the change from Bontemsky Street to Putikitiki. So outcomes that have come from our people, and we've got behind them
not just as people inside council, but the whole community, the whole iwi coming together. That's how we know, because no man's an island and you're standing with all of your people.
Kia ora, tēnā koe te pora.
Councils are creatures of statute, and unless we are able to influence what governs and what influences statute, then we are only going to be able to see some real long-term change. And what I mean by creatures of statute is that they're governed by regulation, policy. We build, we implement, we embed the provisions of Te Tiriti o Waitangi in there, then we are going to see some change for Māori, because the rules that are going to govern councils, what they can do, they're going to first of all need to make sure that they are being equitable in their decision making. The composition of the decision makers must reflect Māori at the table. And so that's one. A name change from Hamilton to Kirikiriroa would make a huge difference to this town. It will send the message that actually mana whenua from Kirikiriroa have put their po in the ground and are reclaiming back their space. How are we going to measure some of this? I think when we're able to sit at the table and our whānau are actually able to speak to us quite openly, frankly, and tell us what we are doing good and what we are not doing good. And for us to be able to accept the feedback that they're given, not become all sensitive, because if you're becoming sensitive of what some of our whānau are giving, then you clearly are not spending enough time back at the marae, back in your hapu, because that's exactly how they talk. Ka pai.
Kia ora. Yep, next pārtai. This is for any candidates. Kia ora, what are your plans for engaging rangatahi and other young people in your communities?
So, Shane.
So what are my plans in getting more rangatahi to come forward?
Engaged in your community.
By going to the communities that have our rangatahi, by letting their voices be heard, and not listen to what they're saying, but putting action. Our rangatahi do come forward and they do give what bothers them, but too much of our whānau sweep it under the carpet, and that's why we've got the problem we do have today with crime rate, youth offending. Our youth just want to be heard, they want to be respected, they want to have the time of the day be given to them, and that is the reason why I'm running. I'm running for all our rangatahi who have lost faith in our current council system, that want to see change.
I think we can engage rangatahi by meeting rangatahi where they are, not where we think they should be. And I've been doing this, working in this space for the last 3 years, and there are reports about rangatahi being unengaged, about this, about that. But when you actually meet them where they are passionate, they are interested, they have ideas, and they have energy. And I think it's about giving them mana. It's about giving them space to talk, space to express, because it's all very well to have experience in the decision making, but rangatahi have the fresh ideas and they've got the energy. And so it's about giving them that mana, giving them that space. And I think that's the litmus of success. Kia ora.
Two sides. First side is ask them, literally ask them. And the second side, if you want to be someone who supports rangatahi, well, figure out what tuakana teina means. Both sides, it is a reciprocal relationship. It takes a village to raise a child or to raise anyone, so support.
Over, Jen.
So we'll get the next part. Sorry, we just got some time.
Actually, no, I'd like to actually hear from someone who isn't a rangatahi on this question. How would you engage rangatahi in your communities?
I'm not a rangatahi, as you know. Actually, what we did is that we ran a Waananga out at Parawera. And so Raukawaki Paripura now has a rangatahi forum made up of those 4 marae. They have now started to incorporate the rest of the town into their kaupapa. Now, they actually undertook that themselves. I know, a little bit of push. But, you know, it was an initiative that all it was put on their lap. They picked it up and ran with it. So where they go with it is where they go with it. It's really about where the old people are just the guidance of those young people. And that's all we're going to do for them, guide them. You know, like I said, you're 15, if you can't wash your laundry, then make sure you do what you can do. You know, I've been here half a century, like some of my whanaunga here, but we all know, you know, don't jump before you can jump. Make sure you wash your undies before you leave the house.
Awesome. Kia ora. The next partai, and actually this is for whānau who is standing in non-Māori seats, either as a mayoral candidate and or in a general ward. How do you intend on delivering not only to Māori but your wider community?
Yeah, just people are at the center of everything, and people only need basic things like listening to them and respecting them, and you know, enhancing mana, those sorts of things. So treating people the way I want to be treated, listening to them. Mahi.
Anaro, you're sending the general seat, aren't you?
I think of the call of that mission that a few of them have said around go to where they are. The Waikato seat is quite diverse, Kaiowā all the way down to Tokorua. We've got Pacifica communities quite significant in South Waikato. So if they invite you, because tikanga Māori ne, me tono, if they invite you, go to where they are. Be in their communities, listen to their voices, and they'll call you back if they want you there. So take heed of their word because you're representing them.
Just for the mayor, but I want to go back to the rangatahi question because I think it's pertinent whether you stand in the Māori ward or the general ward or you're running as mayor. As I said at a mayor debate, that they were speaking about bringing down crime rates, and I said, well, you've got to house them first. And if you want to bring down crime rates, you've got to employ them. If you want to bring down crime rates, you've actually got to invest in their sporting fields in their community, like for example in Norton, Glenview, Fairfield. If you want to bring down crime rates, then you actually have to invest in their parks so that our parks look like Rotatuna parks. So I think that's an issue for everyone, for the whole community. Kia ora.
Kirikiriroa standing for mayor in our Waikato district.
Kia ora whānau. I can actually work with all people. I talked about my 25 career here at Te Kirikiriroa Waikato. My primary role was Māori, councillor Māori, manager Māori. But I saw all people, my door was open to everybody. And I think it's just, I've just got this genuine rapport with people. And I think it's it's a reciprocated relationship. It's about building a relationship. Yeah, so that's me. It's never failed me in my career. And I'm pretty sure that it's going to see me through my council work.
Kapai, awesome. Hey, look, I'm mindful too that I don't know if I've heard you yet, Jane. So, he ho whakaro pāna ki ngā rangatahi. So how are you going to engage rangatahi?
I guess the first thing I would say is let's check in here if any are in here right now, and I'm not seeing a lot, and so that tells me that they're not really engaged. Two, are we speaking their language? And that's not like slang. That's like this social media where they live. You know, Rangatahi Danish did really, you and your mate did also mahi on TikTok and getting a message out. Our rangatahi engage with language and information on a highway that's social media on all the various platforms. So it's not to me, this is my whakaro. It's not about, put out all this, that, other program. It's We got to send our information to where they're sitting, and they're sitting on their phone somewhere scrolling through social media. So to me, it's all redundant unless the information can get to them, and that's where I think they are.
Ka pai. Tēnā tātou, ko mai ko te pakipaki. Look, so that actually really kind of concludes the formal part of this evening. Tip was probably like, oh, again, do I have to listen to myself again? And yes, again, you're going to have to listen to yourself again. But look, I just, before Tipper gets up, just want to take this time to acknowledge our candidates. What was only meant to be 15 this evening, I think we've ended up with how many? I don't know, 7, okay, we've ended up with an extra 2. So just really big mihi to you for, again, having the courage to stand up. Congratulations, wish you all the very best in your tūranga, and really looking forward post 8th of October to see how it all kind of pans out. So again, everyone, can you please put your hands together for all of our Māori candidates this evening. In closing, I'm going to give our kind of the last bit of this evening to our keynote speaker, Tipper, and she's going to close us off for the evening. Ko mai ko te pakipaki.
Tēnā tātou. Again, just remain inspired by all of you that are seeking to join local government. Again, 9 years ago, it was not for a reason that you guys are all talking about. It was just I was following the river to its decision maker. So the fact that you, in the fullness of your own energy, have done enough research to understand what is the proposition of leadership at council, what do your people need, and how you're going to fulfil that role. Mihi nui kia koutou, that you've done all of that, thinking it through. We will only be better off for all of that. Just something I want to highlight now in case I don't get to talk to you again, but we're going to stay online. I don't have a soundbite from everyone, so I expect everyone to send it to me on Facebook so I can put you out there. Again, I've got a few thousand followers. I'm not saying I'm big. I hate Facebook. I hate it. But if any one of them wants to vote for you, kei reira, okay? So please send me your links. When you get to the other side, there will be a process and you get to your council and they may or may not facilitate it. But He Ahuru Mōwai is our effort as Māori elected members to support new members to local government, because we will be onboarding 60 of you through Māori wards. Yeah. So for that, we want to pair people up. If you're a mayor, we want to pair you up with an experienced mayor. If you're a chair of an audit and risk committee in your council, we want to pair you up with people because we want you to be successful in your first term. Eh? And then after that, you build on your own success. So that's the gift from Te Maruata to all of you. I'm saying, on behalf of me and Katarana, who doesn't know it yet, but she's still our deputy chair, so while she's got mandate, she's going to agree that we're going to host Te Maruata. But she's only got a week of mandate left, so I better get her to agree really quickly. But no, so you'll all be pānui to come and join that. That is a network of 90 elected members Māori across community boards and everything. And there's some of the cleverest Māori I've ever been in that room. So I don't need to know anymore because there are experts in the room. I just got to ask the right Māori friend. To all of you, koikiri is just something we have to deal with. This election and next year's election, there will be a whole lot of that. And even in your first 3 months induction into council. So here's my offer, ask an auntie. Yeah, I was the rangatau voice on the regional council 9 years ago and I was over 40. So I'm laughing, Shanae, because I hear you. My learned colleagues used to say you didn't have enough life experience to be on council if you were under 25. They ridiculed members like Tanya Tapsell and others for not having enough life experience to be on council. And yet, you know, all of I know, but if we're going for diversity of experience, none of them can whakaeke onto a marae either, but all of you can. Yeah. So again, not wanting to put us just solely into their box about what experience is, because all of you, you've grown kaupapa at a community whānau level to some degree, whether it was netball, softball, power fritters, auntie, other kaupapa for our rangatahi everywhere. We're already doing it, so don't buy into the do you have the right governance skill set, luck. And I want to ask most days, do you have common sense? Eh? Because most of the time, everybody in a council room is arguing about their opinion, not what is the greater good for the community. And one thing our Māori nei, we can get to that very quickly. Yeah. The other thing about rangatahi voice, and I'm really proud of all of you that were in our room tonight, is because more often than not, if I was a rangatahi 9 years ago, what a joke. But I need to give permission to not be that anymore. Not be that anymore and not even try and replace that. Is to say, give them a voice, give them a room, a framework and a resource and let them do it. Because the only people who problemise their youth are not our culture. Yeah, we are legacy. Everybody that set up here was a mokopuna decision made some time ago. Yeah, you're already invested in. You're already the legacy of people that saw what you could bring forward a long time ago. We need you to stand because we need your mokopuna to see that. And one of us is birthing the next Māori mayor of this place, raising that person already. We are raising a regional councillor chair of this whole region. That may not be this year, but it will happen, okay? As for being too green, yeah, I've heard that one too. They don't know where our experience comes from. So it's fear of the unknown. So when I had the cheek to become deputy chair of the regional council in my 3rd day of being a regional councillor, that was because it's built on 20 years of iwi leadership. Yeah? So what, I just arrived at council. I've been a leader in my iwi for a long time. Why shouldn't they recognise that? I've been a leader in my community a long time. But if it was for them to recognise my leadership, they would have never known it existed. Yeah? So give yourself permission to be new in council, but not new to the leadership you bring. Hey, but you've got a CEO to know all of that. Hey, you have chief executives in any topic you need. But what we do need is the hearts and minds of our people to be brought forward. So, wera kōrero katoa ka nui te mihi kia koutou. Ka nui te mihi ki nō whānau, ngō koutou toko, because without the supporters we have, we wouldn't be brave enough sometimes to sit where we sit. So thank you to your friends and supporters. And I'm saying to the 800 votes in this room, we are going for 8,000 Māori voting in the Waikato region. That's what we need to show that we've actually changed something around here. What I would really like to see, if I say my wish, is that we go to 8,000, the Pākehā vote drops off, and we're the only confident people in this election. Yeah, but don't tell them that. Don't tell them that till we get to the other side. Because if I was to listen to all of the hari kōrero about me and Kataraina and our council, yeah, before her and I, because this is 2 rounds now, we haven't been opposed. So in regional council world, we have the strongest mandate of any regional councillor, because twice now we've got through uncontested. But will they consider one of us for the chair? Not if we don't take it. So we have to be bold enough, because just in the way that their democracy works, the fact that we have got unopposed mandate for 60,000 people means one of us should be the chair. Yeah, but if we aren't brave enough to do that, you may not see that as the outcome, but you'll know why it happened, eh? Yeah, but we're going to put our best effort in, and we know you will too. So again, this time, if you don't get the taumata, don't worry about it. Get on council. If you don't get the committee you want, don't worry about it. Get on there next time. Our job this time, though, is to build our network so strong that without a word of a lie, we own the seats that you fellas bring in this time. No one else can unseat you. Okay, so that's the mission, whānau, and you will hear from me in December, all of you candidates, because we've got work to do. Ka pai, kia tātou.
Ka pai, just before you leave, we just want to actually acknowledge you, Tipa. Again, yeah, Paul thinks she's always been getting rung up saying, oh, look, we need for you to speak at another candidate event. But she always seems to come up with new, innovative, and actually really kind of key talking points that actually largely is really beneficial for those who are looking to stand in council. So, you know, though we've heard a lot of you, you always bring something new every time to the conversation. And so I just really want to acknowledge you, Tipa, not only actually for one, being the exemplar and the template for many of us who are here tonight, you know, and your role your successive roles in local government, but also now more recently your role in particular with the Māori Health Authority. And so just really want to acknowledge you for all the mahi that you do and that you continue to do for us. Kia ora. Look, just in closing again, I have to plug, so voting opens this Friday and closes on the 8th of October. So now, now we're presented with the opportunity of seeing all these amazing Māori candidates standing. It is also your role now to mobilise and get out and mobilise those voters, and so tap into all your networks, all into your whānau, into your community, support them and get them, help them, well, not help them too much, but help them to cast their vote, because now really the mission is about getting votes, and getting you in that seat. And what we know is that once you're in there, it's highly likely you'll stay in there, as we've seen in the example of both Kataraina and Tipa this evening. Just in closing, I want to also take this the opportunity to acknowledge Sharon. So Sharon has everyone will Sharon. Probably hate the fact that we're doing this, but Sharon's actually she's actually really helped us to reach the critical mass. And though that we might not always have many people attending tinana, we've actually managed to kind of have a massive reach, not just here in Waikato, but actually throughout the motu. And lastly, it's come as a result of the voluntary mahi that Sharon provides to us. So I just really want to take this time to acknowledge Sharon. Kia ora. Cool. So look, we're gonna apologies for keeping you guys here later than anticipated, but it is actually not our fault. We'll blame it on the candidates who all came in late one, and then we'll blame it on everyone else who just decided they wanted to carry on eating. But hoi anō, ka pōti te raka kia koe te pāpā Sam, nā ui whakakapi tēnā o ngā kaupapa. Kia ora.
Tō reira tēnā kōrua koutou i tō kōrua ropu, hei whakatū mai nei tēnei tō tātou kaupapa. Nō reira tēnei te mihi atu kia koutou. Tēnā koe tipa mō ngā kupu hāpai, ngā kupu tautoko, ngā kupu hārahi, ki tēnā o ngā kaitono e tau nei e tēnei pō. Ahuri no ki a koe te tumua ki tēnā koe. Me ngā kaumātua waingi a koutou, anei rā, ki tiro hiaki nei ki te rangatahi e tū mai, ki runga ki tēnā kaunihira, ki tēnā kaunihira, ki tēnā kaunihira. Nō reira e te atua kaharawa. E mohio koe te whatu manua, te tangi o te ngākau o tēnā, kia tūwai ki runga i ngā kaunihira. Nō reira e te atua manaki tia arohaina mātou katoa, i runga te ingoa tautami hukraiti tō mātou kai whakora. Nō reira kia tau kia tātou katoa, te ata whai o tō tātou ariki o i hukraiti, me te aroha o te atua, me te whiwhinga tahitanga ki te wairua tapu, ake. Kia ora tāpā.